So we're live? Are we doing this?
Yes, we are.
All right, cool. All right, so let's just start because I'm most likely going to add like a little intro in the beginning. All right, so Voy. We have Voy here.
What's going on? What's going on? Pleasure being on the show. Thank you for having me, Elvis.
So Voy, let's hear your whole government name.
So my full name, it's a tongue twister. Get ready. It's Wojtek Wiącek.
You said it with the accent too. Wojtek,
yeah, of course.
Wojtek.
And you know, as time went on, it kind of merged into Voy, and that kind of became, I guess you could say, my brand. And everybody just knows me as Voy now. So
As Voy.
As Voy.
Yeah, because when I heard that, I was just like, that's definitely like
You know, it's funny. People couldn't say Voy Tech. Like, you just add the tech. It's not that hard. They kept always forgetting it.
Wojtek.
Yeah, so it just kind of stayed
How was it
with
at
Voy.
school? Like, how do you like
Oh my God, dude. Rough. Rough.
Wojtek?
It was funny, like, the teacher, I would look at the teacher and I knew it was coming, right?
Yeah.
And she's going down the names and mine's like towards the end. And then she would stop and she would go, all right, I'm going to have a hard time pronouncing this. I'm like, shit, let me just raise my hand. That's
Like,
me
I know
right
it's
there.
me.
Word. So
All right, Voy, tell us about yourself. Like what do you do as a creative?
as a creative, okay, that's a great question. So I'm a co-owner of a clothing brand called We the Rivals.
Okay.
And we specifically are geared towards the fitness industry. Our goal is to elevate individuals through the mind, body, and soul. So
How did that start though? Let's start with that. Like what is Rivals?
So let me go back way deep. So I actually had a clothing line before this, right?
Mm.
And I would say it was like 2000, maybe 12, 13. It was called G Fit. Generation Fit, right? So that was my first shot. Keep it G. That was the slogan. Keep it G.
G Unit.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
the inspiration?
I can't even remember honestly, but Keep It G was my little motto, my little slogan. And I
Keep
did
it
it with
G.
a friend. And you know, we had some issues internally as the business was kind of starting to evolve. And then I was actually having trouble getting trademarks
Yeah.
for the name.
Why? Because it was like
Just
Pretty
G-Fit
common?
was a pretty popular name. Even though it wasn't used in clothing, some lady had like a gym or something like that. And I spent crazy money trying to get it, move it over. And then it was getting to a point where I was just like, my vision isn't aligned. You know, the trademark's not going through. We had some issues with my partner. So I was like, you know what, maybe it's not the right thing to do. So I threw in the towel. And I got to say, I took like 6 months to really get my mind back on track.
like on what you wanted to do.
Just in general, I was kind of depressed because I thought that was like my thing.
Yeah.
And I spent so much money and I literally lost it in like a night.
Damn. What the hell?
And it was, you know, I was putting in mad work, packing shirts there, just grinding out through the night, going to school, working full time, sometimes working 50, 60 hours.
Where did you go to school?
At that time, I was going to Montclair State University.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I did 2 years there.
My girl was probably ass back then.
There was a lot of ass. There was just... Maybe we should cut that out.
It wasn't like back then. Montclair wasn't like as nice as it was before. as it
Honestly,
is now.
No, it was actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm not that old.
No, I mean just because like the 2 years I was in, they built like 4 different buildings. Like that. That's all I'm trying to say. Like it's just like they literally built the business building. They built a whole communications building. They built a nursing building.
Really? Oh, they have nursing now?
Yeah.
That's actually why I left, because they didn't have nursing.
What the fuck you want to be a nurse?
I did. Oh boy.
Okay. Back to Rivals though.
But back to Rivals. So, you know, after G-Fit, I took some time off and I got my energy back. I got my motivation back. And I was like, you know what? Let me take another stab at this. And then I met Sean. Well, I knew Sean for a long time since we were babies. But
you guys like reconnected.
reconnected, yeah. And then, you know, I had the idea. And I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? And he was all about it. He had a lot of ideas too. So we just kind of merged together. And we came about with We the Rivals. So then it just took off from there.
How long ago was this? When did you guys start Rivals?
We the Rivals would say it's going to be about 3 years in May.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so it's been some time. And looking back at it, no, I still can't believe it's here.
Yeah.
I still got the same fire. I still want to keep grinding, still growing it. You know, I look at other brands and some of my friends that started it 2 years ago. They didn't even last like 6 months, you know?
That's
We're still
crazy.
here. We just signed athletes on board, 3 of them. So it's dope. I'm very thankful, very blessed.
So you guys sign athletes as like a sponsorship in a way?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to have 2 different tiers. We're going to have an athlete tier, which are like the top of the top.
Mhm.
And these guys are specifically selected to not only be the face, but have a story and actually speak about the grind and motivate people, you know? So it's like, it's not necessarily just about the clothes. It's what you do in them.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. I get it. That's true. So you do Rivals, and you got into photography and video. So how did that come up?
So it was actually because of Rivals.
Because of Rivals.
Yeah, so when we first started out, you know, I would hit up people, photographers, local photographers that had like a dope ass quality, the quality that I want for my brand. I hit him up, and one of the guys was like, yeah, man, I could do like, you know, 20 photos for you, but it's gonna be like $800. I was like, $800, bro.
I mean, once you're doing it now, though, like you understand why people charge that much. But honestly, like you charge whatever you want to charge.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, $800 for, you know, for a first time client that's just starting out his business, like that just wasn't feasible. So I looked for other guys, and they dropped the price to about $600. One guy came to like $300, but I was just like, man,
that's still a lot, though.
I want to be producing content every week. $300, like, I can't do that. So I was like, yo, Sean, let's just buy a camera and do it ourselves. Fuck it. I ain't got time for this shit. So I picked up a camera, and I learned that shit as fast as I could. I started doing what most photographers do, is just hit this person up, let me shoot for free. Hit this person up, let me shoot for free. And just practicing. I mean, 1 week, I think I shot like 9 people.
Damn, what the hell?
I was just grinding, bro. It was just as fast as I could get it, and I got pretty decent with it. So
no, your work, it shows, man.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, so it just started kind of flowing into that, and people started reaching out to me to be like, hey, can you shoot for me this? Can you do that? And I was just like, well, it's a skill that I learned. It's fun. I'm a creative. If I'm getting paid for it too, not going to say no. So it just kind of evolved into that, and then photography is now shifting into videography. So videography is like the new direction I want to go.
Yo, video is it's so fun because it's like, it's different. And when I started taking photos too, like I always had the cinematic kind of feel.
Yeah.
Because you know how Instagram has like they have this like persona. It's just like they want to make it like, it looks like an Instagram photo, like when you take a photo.
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
So and like I never liked that, even though like Photoshop and like all that had to take into play, and it was kind of cool. But I'm just like, I never liked that. Like it looks kind of funky to me and stuff.
So was the Strada video like the first one you've ever done?
Strada video was the first music video I've ever been a part of, and the first one I directed. So
that's crazy. Yeah, it came out crazy, dude. I must have watched like, I probably got you like 5,000 views.
Thank you, man. Yeah, no, because like before that, like I wouldn't. I mean, I thought about doing music videos, but before that, it wasn't like an actual thing that I wanted to get into. And then when we did that music video, the reason that happened is because I heard the beat. Because Strada was in the studio with like me and my girlfriend. We were just like chilling and stuff. And I heard the beat. I was like, oh shit, sounds pretty cool and stuff.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Let me get on that.
I was like, oh shit, it sounds cool.
Yeah.
No, I actually asked him. I was like, yo, can I use that beat for like a video or something? But then he's like, oh, like this is the song and stuff we're going to do. So I was like, oh shit, let me do the video then. Because like, I mean, might as well. I already have an idea with it. So I was there before he like even wrote the lyrics. Like just, I already had the concept in mind. That's kind of how we did it. It was originally supposed to be like a New York feel, but then it happened to be like LA, which ended up working out because it had a New York feel in LA.
No, it was, honestly, like by far one of the my favorite things about the video was the actual environment.
I know.
The fact that it rained at that specific time, and like the way the light hit the puddles, and he was just doing his thing, flowing. You could tell he was flowing.
I got so lucky with
that. Yeah.
Because I wanted that though. I wanted like a continuous scene that's gonna, it's gonna constantly change throughout the whole video.
Yeah.
Because if you look at music videos, most of it's like performance, a little story. But I wanted to do like not just a story, but just like a constant, like a flow. of a scenery, Because sometimes it's like story, but then you skip to like random scenes, and it's just kind of like, that's what I didn't want. And even with like having a woman, like if you notice, like there's no women in it. It's just Strada. And that was a conscious decision though. Like that was, someone mentioned that, oh, you shot like a girl here because it's about like Volver, it's like about a girl and stuff. I was just like, I don't know, like I'm trying to do it without, because it's very easy to get people's attention with a female figure, but it also takes away from the feel I wanted to give people. So I was like, I mean, it's going to be the first video I'm going to do, so I don't want to copy off of like other people. So that's kind of how I did like, nah, it's just going to be about Strada this time. Like I just wanted to be strictly about him.
That's amazing, bro. I didn't know that. That's great. I respect that a lot, because if you look at a lot of music videos nowadays, I feel like they portray the women just as like sex symbols.
Yeah, and, yo,
you know what I'm saying? And it's like,
and I don't want somebody there that has no purpose. I'm just like, sometimes I see music videos, I'm just like, what's she doing there? Like, why is she there?
You could bring in a woman, but just have her feel beautiful.
Yeah, she has
make
to have
her feel
purpose,
beautiful. You know, let her bring that energy now. Not just be like, oh, let me take my clothes off. Like,
yeah, like if I'm gonna have someone there, she's gonna have a purpose. Like she's gonna be the focus of it, not just like a side piece, like a decoration and stuff.
But also too, lucked out that Strada got mad energy. So like the way he was bringing it on camera,
yeah, and
just having him as like a center focus was enough. Yeah, so that was dope.
So like his energy like was on point with that. But no, that's kind of how I came out with that. But all right. Back to photo and video. So you do photography, now you get into videography.
Yes, sir.
All right. So what are you trying to focus on? Like, what are you getting yourself into?
In terms of video?
Yeah.
In terms of video, I'm gonna stick within fitness. One, because fitness has been just my whole life, and like I understand how the pump works. As crazy as it sounds, like how the angles work, how you bring out emotion on camera.
The pump works. You're right, though. That's the thing.
Because you want to get the right, veiny shots and stuff. Like, it's all about the details, and I'm very detail-oriented, so I like seeing that. So fitness has been a huge part of my life, so if I could do, film in it and stay in that industry, I'm doing my passion, so I couldn't be more happier, so I want to stick with that. Now, like, if you hit me up to do a video and you want to be on it, I got you. You know what I'm saying? I got you back.
Get that pump, get that vein.
Yeah, exactly. I bring some dumbbells, some weights, get you pumped up for the video. Get the right angles and we good.
Because like I see how dedicated you are with like your physical body. Like when did that start? Like when did you become really focused on like being fit?
So when did I first get that focus, or when I started working out?
Both actually. Then
both.
So like working out, I'm assuming it was always like a thing.
So funny story. It was high school. I remember this like yesterday, and I was a scrawny kid. Freshman year, maybe hit like 99 pounds. Yeah. I was trying to hit that buck, man. I was eating, but I was just very athletic.
Wait, how tall? Were you the same height, or were you?
No, I was shorter. I was maybe 5'5", maybe.
So you're my height, but 90 pounds.
99. Give me the weight. Give me the 9. All right. Wet. 99 wet.
Damn, 99 pounds. Yo, you were scrawny then.
But I was scrawny, and my body is naturally I have a fast metabolism. My body's just like naturally skinny.
Yeah.
But, I was very active. I played soccer. It was like a full-time job. So I was always active, always running, football, soccer, whatever sport I could do. That's why I was scrawny. But I was very fit. And then I was sitting in lunch one time later, I don't know, maybe sophomore year, right? And my boy, he just started working out. And, the chicks were always talking to him. I was like, damn, this guy looks good. And he was on the lunch line one day, and he looks at me and he's like, yo. I look at him, I'm like, yo. And he just flexed. He just flexed his arm, bro. And I was just like,
fucking dick.
I was like, whoa. That like a baseball.
Yeah.
It's my boy Mike Hernandez, by the way. Just give him a shout out. And I'm just like, I want that. I want to know what that feels like, right? So he told me about his gym, New York Sports Club. He introduced me to it, and I live like an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
At the time, I was 16, dude, so I was dedicated. I'd run home from school. Homework was already finished.
That's a must. You gotta remember homework.
Yeah, you get that shit done before you even get home, bro. Sometimes I would walk and write it. I'm like, I'm not walking into my house with this.
Oh yeah, it's true, man. I try to finish it like on lunch and shit. Fuck that. Like no, I just won't do it. Like,
word. So I would go to the gym on a bus, dedicated for an hour there and back. And I got into the gym. We used to work out for like 2-3 hours. So stupid, but I didn't know. I didn't have knowledge.
Yeah.
And then I just got really deep into it. You didn't have Instagram or YouTube wasn't popular. So magazines and just knowledge from other people. And I met like pro football players. I met bodybuilders.
At that gym?
All gyms. There's a couple of pro players I met at that gym and a couple of bodybuilders. One of them is Sean Clarida. He actually competes at Mr. Olympia. So he's like a top bodybuilder now. Yeah. He did his thing, man. He's been grinding since. And I still remember that was back in the day. So he gave me a lot of knowledge too. And, once you kind of meet these people, they put you on. And
that's
it changes
crazy,
the game.
Though. Like, that's been like...
But I would say 2 years ago, last year, I really decided, I was like, listen, I'm just going to take my mental, my physical, and my emotional and spiritual game to the next level. And I really just started taking fitness.
Like super serious?
Yeah, like super serious. It's not that even as serious. It just became a lifestyle. So, like, if I don't do these certain type of things, it's like my day's off.
Yeah.
like eating healthy and eating vegetables, I'm excited. That's like my thing. You know?
So when did that beard grow in then? Was it after the workout?
When the pump came in, right? Beard gains.
Gave the nutrients.
Word. The beard, I would say it was like 2 years ago too. So
really?
yeah, my ex-girlfriend actually was like, I had always had like a shadow.
Yeah.
And how the beard even came about, I was always a clean shaven guy.
Yeah.
I never had a speckle. And then this one chick was like, man, you can't grow a beard. I was like, test me. He's like, you can't grow. It was like that. That shit was to the ground. She was like, whoa. But nah, I just grew out a shadow, and I was just like, holy shit, I didn't even know I could grow something out like this. Like, I couldn't know myself.
Yeah.
She just tested me, so I was like, let me do it. And then a couple years ago, one of my ex-girlfriends was just like, yo, just let it rock. And I let it rock, and I'm just like, whoa, good looks, Pops. Thanks for the jeans, Pops. Looking good.
And you never, yeah, that's crazy though.
I mean, yeah, I trim it and stuff like that. And my barber shapes it up. Shout out to Kenny at City Looks, always hooking it up.
Get the fresh cut.
Word. So, he just trims it up, but it's been like my thing now. People know me for the beard as well, so I enjoy it. I like how it looks. Makes me feel
You
manly.
got beard sponsors, like the oils?
Yeah, so I do have one brand, that I work with. So I actually do some of their content. They're called the Habibi Life.
The Habibi Life?
The Habibi Life, yeah. So they definitely hook it up all the time with the beard products, and their stuff works. It's organic, it's homemade. I use it all the time, and I didn't believe in that stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I put it on, and I was talking to a girl at the time, she was just compliments on the beard the whole time. I'm like, yo, this really got the magic. I'm gonna start using this more often. So ever since then, I did.
My beard game up.
Yeah.
It's growing though. But all right, so let's talk about some projects you're working on. What are you currently up to?
Yeah, absolutely. So one big main projects that we're working on is definitely for Rivals.
Yeah.
We're trying to bring out the story of the athletes, and through photography, of course, I could take photos of them, but like photos only could give you so much. When the audio kicks in, it's a whole level of emotion that it brings out of the person. And like sometimes when we do these videos and I have like the athletes speak on the video, whatnot, like I would literally get chills. So the next project is actually doing a documentary that we're filming for one of the athletes. And, I'm blessed to follow him around throughout the day through his grind. We went to New York City, Performance House, one of the exclusive gyms, and him just doing his things, the way he trains the people, the energy that he brings, the knowledge that he drops is just insane.
It's always good like being around those people, honestly.
It's insane. It really is. And the fact that I could film him.
It motivates you so much, but there's also like you become like you always take part of like whoever you meet,
Yeah, so I always say this, and like I guess you could say I'm pretty spiritual. When people have that type of energy,
yeah,
you could literally pick up on that, and it's gonna change your whole day. Even just by not even speaking to them, just being around that aura, that vibe. Once you feel that state of energy, it's like an addiction.
That goes into like why I like listen to podcasts a lot too. Like especially like Gary Vee, like so his energy like it transmits through that shit, and it's just like, and you could tell it's real. Like I mean, obviously there's like he's like debatable, like people are like him whether they hate him or like him and stuff. There's never like in between. I mean, but honestly, I just feel like it's however you take it. Like it doesn't matter if he's being legit or not. At this point,
it's how it makes you feel.
Yeah, it's how it makes you feel. Like my one book that changed my life was How to Win Friends and Influence People.
It's funny you say that. I read that too. That's the first book I read. Yeah,
that's the first book I ever read.
Yep.
I never read like a full book completely like that. I still haven't read that book completely.
That's a great book.
Like I read part of it, actually a good chunk of it, but just never like.
Did you read the end? There's a like all the way at the end when he gives like the credits to the people who actually took. I think it's Dale Carnegie.
Read that again. I've read that years ago though.
Check this out though. So Dale Carnegie, he had after the book, he invites you to take one of his courses where you could actually be around him, and he gives you tips on, how to win friends, influence people, and everything else he's been practicing.
That book?
Yeah, so like you would
take
a
course. That was like years ago. That book came out in the 30s.
No, it was an updated version. Like that's what he did.
The updated version, okay.
One of the people, they had like a course where they would go to universities and stuff like that. And the mayor of Clifton, they wrote in the book, he actually took the course to become mayor of Clifton because he wanted to influence the community around him to get the vote. He took his course, and then he actually became mayor. He got the win. And they put that little excerpt in the back of the book.
Oh, shit.
So when I saw Clifton, I was like, yo, repping it up. Let's go.
Oh, what the hell?
Yeah, dude.
I didn't notice that.
That's why you got to always read to the end.
You got to read to the end?
Always.
You got to reread that book. I listen to a podcast or something because I don't want to read it.
Like, people have been introducing me to audiobooks, and for some reason.
It's not the same.
Yeah, bro. Like, I have to read a book because when I read the whole thing, it's like an emotional win that I just got.
Yeah.
My mindset just goes crazy. And then when I put it back on that shelf, it's like, yo, I got that trophy. I got that win.
That you could actually show it off instead of like a library of stuff like on your phone.
Yeah, I built my own bookshelf now, and having my books, all the ones that I've read, every time I wake up to and I see that, I'm like, this helped me elevate so much more above so many other people. And it was just like a $5 book.
And it's crazy because like what you said, picking up energy off of that. And it's kind of like people always wonder, like, what if you could like work alongside with like some of the greatest people like in like the past and stuff. But it's like they wrote a book for a reason.
Exactly. And I always bring that up too. Just same idea, bro.
They wrote a book for a reason, and this is literally them telling their story and their point of view. So it's like if you read things in that aspect, you're talking to them in a way.
Exactly. You get to dig deeper into that brilliant person's mind. And I always tell people, ask me for advice all the time now on social media since, my following started to grow. And they always ask me, like, what's the one thing you recommend? And it's always investing in yourself first.
Yeah.
And starting with reading, bro. Because, like, just like you said, same thought. I'm always like, yo, how do you think how Bill Gates thinks, I'm not going to be around Bill Gates. I don't have that type of money. I'm not boys with him. I'm not connected. Maybe one day, but
at least not yet. Now, yeah.
But I want to know how he came about, how he maneuvered, what his strategies were, how did he
and why
negotiate?
Did he think that? So there was this other book I read. Listen to. It's Who is Michael Ovitz?
Okay.
So Michael Ovitz, he's very low key, but he was the one who ran like the Hollywood industry for so many like years, like 3 decades or something.
Wow.
And the thing is, like, if you think about Hollywood, it's like the center of the world and stuff. So he became he made this agency. It's like something creatives agency, whatever. But he had this agency and he created this like idea of a package. So back then when they made films, it was like you get an idea, bring it to a director, and a director, they might make it. Then you try to find like a producing team. You try to find actors. Like it's a very long process to make a film. So his idea was that I'm gonna package it. So say I'm like the agency. I'm going to you as like an investor or something. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna package you this deal. I have this director, these producers, this studio behind me, and these actors, and this story concept. Do you want to like purchase it and stuff? So it's kind of like that's how he did it, and knowing how he did his story, because he became like one of the most feared people like in the world, like because of that.
Well, having the title of what you said, running Hollywood, dude. Honestly, Hollywood has a stronger power than the government.
Yeah, because they influence the whole movie industry, and that's
not only like the human race, kids and how they grow up and what they watch, and some of the subliminal shit I see on YouTube, whether it's real or not, like it's pretty mind blowing.
It still happens,
and it's
like,
influential. So like
so you could be... and knowing his story, like how he did it, he was talking about like this is why I did this is why I did that, and like obviously like things are outdated, so it's not the same.
Right.
But the concept of like why somebody did something, it's what people should take away from, and like I think people like forget that because they think they take things way too literal. Like they're just like, oh, like he did that, but that was back then when the internet didn't exist.
Right.
But it's just like no, like you got to pay attention to like why he took that step though. Like history repeats itself in a way. In most cases, and one way or another, that situation is going to come up again.
Yep. And you don't have to necessarily, just like you said, use that strategy for film. Like, you could read his book, and I could apply that same strategy to, like, my clothing brand. Because, like, I'm just getting so many ideas now that you just told me that he bundled up a deal and made it easier. That's so smart. That was a challenge.
After I heard that, I was like, wow, like, I got to do the same shit.
That's
I was just
so
like,
smart, yeah.
That's ridiculous. Because, like...
He saw a problem, a challenge, which you said was the fact that it's such a long process. He probably sat down and he's like, why don't I do that process for them?
He got, like, Tom Cruise famous. He got, like... He did, like, the Ghostbusters, like, the first one and stuff.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah, like, it was, like, big Hollywood movies and stuff. Like, these were, like... He was running the empire.
Name?
Michael Ovitz.
Ovitz. And what's the book called?
Who is Michael Ovitz? because he was very low key, he was very behind the scenes guy.
Yeah.
So you didn't know who he was, and like he kind of was like this guy, like you hear his name and you're just like, oh shit, like I don't want to deal with him because like he's very pressured. He's very like he pressures people a lot and stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
But like the people who he was under, like he was good with them, you know. But it's like his enemies, like obviously that's how it was. And he was like one of the people that actually got like Sony into like motion pictures and shit like that. Like he would talk to the CEO of Sony, and like it's a very interesting book. You gotta like listen to it. And I heard it because on a podcast with Gary Vee and Michael Ovitz.
Oh, really?
And he was talking about it. He's like, yo, like people don't know who you are, but like I know who you are, and like I know how much of an impact you were and stuff. After that podcast, I was like, oh shit, like let me get on that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna check that out.
So
I'll probably order it tonight.
That's all. Yeah, that was a very interesting book. But
was that one of your favorites?
Yeah, because it was. I mean, I've listened to like a few audiobooks. The one that changed me was like the How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Mm-hmm.
But because like I consciously made that decision to change myself because I was a very shy person. I didn't like talking to people. Well, I mean, I did want to talk to people, but I didn't know how to.
Yeah.
So I kind of figured, I'm like, how do I do this? And it's funny because the way I got recommended that book, it's so weird. And you know how they say like, there's always like, and I mean, I'm not very like, I'm spiritual, like I believe in all that. And I'm not very like religious and stuff. But it's just like, now I think about it, it's just like some sort of like energy or universe kind of brought me to that point.
Absolutely.
So I was out looking for, like, I consciously made a decision to go out and look for a book in Barnes & Noble. I went out, I was like in high school. I went out and I was like, all right, let me go look for a book or something because I want to make my decision.
You walk into the aisle and the book just kind of creeped over.
No,
like,
no,
that one.
it's even better. Like, okay, so I walked into the finance section because I was just like, oh, I need to know how to like finance works. This was before I got into college and stuff. So like, This is like me actively looking to change myself.
Right.
So I'm looking and I'm like, all right, like I don't know what to do. So some guy looks at me. He's just like, oh, like, hey, what are you looking for and stuff? I'm like, I don't know. I'm looking at some books to like, you know, some finance books. He's like, what are you getting into? Like, I told him like, kind of like, I'm thinking about getting into finance and stuff. And he goes, he's like, oh, like, you know, you should like, there's a couple finance books like Rich Dad Poor Dad. He recommended me. And like, and like, I've heard of that book. I read it afterwards. So it's actually a really good book. But
Robert Kiyosaki,
yeah,
something like that.
I just thought it was like a scam though at first because like the way it was approached was very marketed.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah, and I was like, it was very marketed, but I don't know. But either way, like he recommended me that, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and then one book he was just like, you know what, you should read this other book, and it was like How to Win Friends and Influence People. He's like, I think you could really use that and stuff, and like I don't know what came to me, but that was the first book I went to, and I was just like, all right, let me go look for it. So like, I don't know, whatever he said to me just made me go out of my way and then just go upstairs where the book was and look for that book specifically. And to this day, like, I don't know who that guy was. I don't remember how he looks like.
He never works there.
No, he didn't work there. He was a customer. He wasn't
really?
a worker. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He wasn't a worker. He was a customer.
That's crazy.
And he just comes up to me, like speaking to me like, yo, like, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know how, like, something in the universe, something like happened.
You know what it was? You were seeking that.
And that's what I'm trying to, yeah.
Conscious or subconscious, you sent that energy out.
And that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, it's just like the fact that like I consciously made the decision to change myself, and then some shit in some way maneuvered its way into me because I was looking for it, met me like halfway.
But you know what's also good about that? Just looking at that exact example, is that you took the opportunity to go get that book. You know, that was your opportunity coming, knocking on your door, and you were like, let me open it up. Let me see what's it about. Because some guys would be like, yeah, dope book, man. I'll check it out. And then totally forget.
Dude, yeah, it's like, so I walked up to the door. This guy opened it.
Exactly.
And I decided to walk through. And that's how I think of it. And I'm just like, that's crazy because like something like that, it's like, he probably didn't think much of it. All right, let me stop it real quick. So we got to pause because, you know, there's a timer on the camera. So we're going to start back. All right, so picking up where we left off, it was talking about the book. So the way I thought about it was that I walked up to the door consciously because I wanted to change something about myself. And this random ass guy, I don't know what he thought about. Like, I don't know what compelled him to like actually tell me like to help me out because he wasn't even a worker. He was just this random dude, like looking at me, like trying to look for a book. and he recommended me a book that wasn't even had to do with finance. It was just like self-improvement. So after I read that book, and like if you see the book, like I have like mad underlines, like mad like side notes and stuff, because that was the first book I was actually getting into. Because like before that, like even though school books, like some of them are really good, but it's like you're forced to read it, and you're just like, I don't want to read this shit.
Yeah, and honestly, during those days, it's like you used to skate.
Yeah,
you used to do all these type of things, and like that was life, you know.
That was my life. Like, I didn't think about self-improvement, and no, it was crazy because like I don't, like I said, that's crazy because like I don't know how that came about. You know, something in the universe just kind of helped out, and like I said, I don't remember how this dude looks like. I don't remember how he sounds like. Like I had this maybe like this figure image, and then someone mentioned like, yo, it's an angel, and I'm just like, yo, at this point probably, yo, because like I don't know.
You never know, bro. And it's funny, like the fact that you're seeking self-improvement and you're going into a section where it's like books about that type of stuff.
Yeah, and it's
people are there that you meet that are looking for the same answer, and you could always connect with them. And that happened to me at Barnes & Nobles. I met like 4 people just by being in the book section, the self-improvement. Some guy, same thing. He's like, I've read that one. That's a good one. And it was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
That's a good book.
I
got a little bored of it though. I'm not gonna lie.
It was like repetitive.
Yeah, and I was just like, yeah, I got it already. Like,
I could have had that in like 1 page, but I'll read the 3 on it. I respect it.
But it's crazy though, and the thing is like with the Rich Dad Poor Dad, that's a finance book. It's not really in depth with finance, but it gives you the idea that like how rich people think in a way, like with finance. Okay, talk about people who buy homes,
investing. It's
a liability when you buy a house, unless you're renting it out. So I actually recommended that book to this one lady that I used to work with in Kmart, and she
now owns the Kmart.
No, but she was saying that she like I remember went back because this is like after like I quit and stuff. I went back and she was working there still, so I was like, oh, like, hey, what's up, like, you know, and she was like a cool person, so I was like, you know, how you been, whatever. And I don't know how the conversation came up, but I was just like, oh, like you should read this book. And like I didn't think much of it. I sent her like the PDF file because someone gave me the PDF file to that at my job, and I was just like, it's a really good book. Like it kind of gets you in the mindset and stuff. And like it impacted me in a way. Like I was just like, oh, it's one more thing, you know. But it wasn't like Rich Dad like thinking. No, it wasn't like the how to win friends and influence people kind of effect. But
how do you know? Maybe you were that angel for her. Maybe she was seeking that.
And that's what I'm trying to say. Like after that, she kept emailing back like months afterwards. She's like, hey, like, I paid down my credit. I did this. I did that. Like, I'm starting this other thing and stuff. Like, you know, like, thank you so much for the book and stuff.
That's
and
amazing.
I was like, oh, shit. Like, I didn't realize I did that. Like, all I did was recommend the book. But, like, and I was just like, no, like, this is honestly you. Like, you know, you made that decision to do that. But, like, amazing. I guess she needed that extra push. Yeah, and, like, knowing that, like, that had that much of an impact on somebody, it made me feel good because it made me feel like how that person had an impact on me, you know? So, that's also something, like, I was, like, I've always been into and I've always thought about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely feel like there is, for sure, an energy that we don't see.
Yeah.
Because even if you look at a lot of animals, I believe bees actually see in 2D or they see ultraviolet colors. So think of your phone and the waves that they emit. There's obviously some sort of waves, but our eyes aren't just capable of seeing that type of wavelength. They could see that. And they say that they actually see colors with waves. So there's a whole nother world out there.
Yeah, if you look at the
we don't see.
If you look at the vision spectrum, like we only see like
It's crazy.
We see imagine. maybe 1/20th of the actual spectrum, and then like that zoomed out, that's where colors come into play.
And that's why I think like medicine and psychedelics open that pathway or that door to that realm. And then you could see some of those dimensions. That. You know what I'm saying? Because like the bees actually use ultraviolet light to see if a flower has pollen on it. And it looks kind of like a landing strip. So they're flying, they look down and it's like, oh, that's a red one. Let me fly down, pick it up.
I mean, that makes sense. Like, how else would they know?
Exactly.
You know?
That's how it works. So it's something's out there. And even the energy of like, you know, they say the moon and how that creates or how like would I say controls the tide, you know? I don't see a string where the moon's pulling it every morning, the tide or something like that, right?
Like, yo, chill, like,
oh, you guys trying to surf today? Bet, I got you.
Just like shake it.
Yeah, word. So
okay, speaking to psychedelics, so under my understanding, you've taken as far as
So I actually have never taken psychedelics, but I am embarking on my first ayahuasca journey with one of my friends this summer. So I'll get deeper into ayahuasca. But before I do that, I'm actually going to get into my first psychedelic, which will be shrooms. So I want to do that beforehand. But, you know, I'm not over here just to do it to get high.
There's a purpose behind it.
There's a purpose, right? And we're going to have somebody that guides you through it. He knows how to speak. He knows how to play the right music. So you open a deep...
For what, the ayahuasca?
For both.
Oh, for
the
both.
shrooms
For
as
both.
well.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not going to just take shrooms and just sit there in my room and be like, yeah.
So I've thought about, like, that's the only one, like, I've actually thought of, like, the natural ones, like, not like these crazy, like, the ones that get you fucked up and stuff, you
Acid
know?
And
but,
LSD.
yeah, I'm not trying, I mean, I get that they had a purpose back then, but, like, I'm not trying to get like that. Like, these guys are crying, like, because things are beautiful, you know? Like,
I mean, bro, you never know.
But, like, no, yeah, you're right, you never know, but, like, they just did it just to do it, you know?
Yeah.
But, I've thought about it just because I'm just, like, maybe... like DMT and shit like that, like maybe like...
So DMT is actually a similar form
of ayahuasca.
Except DMT,
it's just, I think it's
smoke.
synthetic though.
They say I
think
it's MEO,
MEO,
MEO5 DMT, I think it's what it's called. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they take it actually from a toad. It's poisonous from...
that's one form actually. That's one form I heard that, like it's the poison and stuff like that.
When you smoke it,
it like dries out and it turns into like a crystal and stuff.
Exactly. And you smoke it and it goes right into the bloodstream, which...
I heard that's intense though. I heard that's like ridiculous because like... But like, because like Joe Rogan was talking about that and he was saying that one was like intense. The one he's taking was like the synthetic one, I think. Yeah. And that's a more easier, like quicker trip. But the ayahuasca is DMT, but just in a longer, nicer form.
It's because you ingest it and they make like a sort of like a drink. Yeah. And when you drink it, your body takes a lot longer to process it and break it down. So from what I've been told and from what everybody speaks about the ayahuasca experience is that when you smoke DMT, it hits your bloodstream and you just skyrocket to like the seventh dimension.
Like you're...
You know what I'm saying?
That's literally what they talk about. It's just like you're in a fucking rocket ship and you're just like, oh,
you hit it and then you're just like, all right, let me just strap up.
And that is very scary because some people can't handle that.
Exactly.
And you also never know what mood you're in, so like you won't know like what kind of experience you have. And when people talk about psychedelics and stuff, like it's crazy because, in some points, like people can actually like hallucinate themselves and stuff, right? So they were showing this artist, I forgot his name, but Joe Rogan was talking about that in his podcast, that he does like psychedelics. Art, psychedelic art, and he was just like, yo, that's definitely like DMT and shit like that because of the way it was like kind of like
shaped and
the way it was shaped, the colors and stuff, the shape of it, how it was like repetitive in a certain pattern and stuff. And I always wonder, I'm like, how does it feel to like hallucinate? Like, what do people do? So like for some reason, like it clicked to me when they were just like, oh, like every time he takes DMT, he closes his eyes, like he's never had it open. And when people have it open, that's kind of like where they see things warped. Yeah. And I'm trying to imagine that. I'm like, how the fuck do you see things warped? Like, I'm just like I could imagine it, but I'm just like, is that how crazy it looks like when you're taking it? But most people, when they do that, they actually close their eyes because that's when they like, they were saying that they close their eyes in this world to open it up in another one.
Exactly.
And if you have it open, then shit gets like fucked up because like it's trying to mix worlds and stuff. So that's when things get fucked up and that's when things get scary. But when you close your eyes, that's when you see color. That's when you see like these crazy shapes. And he was saying like one time he saw like a Joker and shit, but it wasn't like a clear Joker. It was like it was like a split second that you see a Joker and then it kind of goes away and fades into like some other shit. But that's crazy because like for some reason, there are certain states in my like, I don't know what's going on, but like I lay down and then I think it's after like I work out or some shit like that.
The pump hits.
I guess like the pump hits. So then like I like lay down, right? And then sometimes like I hear a beeping and it gets louder and louder. And because of that beeping, like it's like a beep, like it's a constant like, like if you shut off a mic or some shit like that. So you hear that and it gets louder and louder. And then I close my eyes because I'm just like, yo, like I feel like kind of like lightheaded in a way. Or not lightheaded, but like I feel like I should close my eyes. Yeah. So I close them and I start seeing like random shit.
Sounds like you're going crazy, but I gotta go. We're done.
But it's like I'm very conscious though. Like I'm looking at it, I'm just like, okay, like it's crazy because I understand this now. Like I understand what's going on. I understand how this works. But then like once I'm out of that state, then I'm just like I don't know how to describe that. And sometimes it would happen when I would wake up from like a dream or something.
Yeah.
And like you know when you hallucinate when you're half woken up.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was looking at a ceiling one time, and I remember this very clearly. I was looking at a ceiling, and I was just like, oh, like I understand how that corner ceiling works, like how the energy flows and everything like that, like how it's structured. And like it was so complex, but I saw it so clearly and I understood it. And even though it's just a corner ceiling, but I saw how like energy flows. I saw how like everything like works and stuff. Yeah. And then like I became conscious, like fully like in this world conscious. And I'm like, oh, it's just a fucking ceiling. But then like it didn't make sense to me what I was thinking. But when people were describing like psychedelics in a certain way, like art and stuff like that, when I would see, I'm just like, I've seen that before. Like I've seen how these things work. Like I understand. Like I'm not just thinking like, oh, that's some crazy ass art. I'm just like, oh, I get it, you know? Like I know what people draw. Like I just never was able to put it into like an art. But when I see, I'm just like, it looks so familiar. So that's why I want to take it, because I'm just like, I wonder if it's the same feeling. Like I wonder if I've naturally been hallucinating throughout my entire life without actually taking these like enhancements, you know?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, so I'm just going to say it quickly. I've been in that state, and I know exactly what you're talking about. For the colors, it happens to me all the time. And I think that happens to mostly more creative minds, and that we do actually get into that state or that flow where we see another dimension. Because there's a lot of people that aren't just as connected or grounded with themselves.
Yeah.
So they take psychedelics to get there. But I feel like a lot of creatives are already there.
And they don't need it, you know?
But from what I've been told and everybody that's experienced it, and even like Steve Jobs who's done it.
It's still different.
If you're creative and you do take it, and you do it for the purpose of finding yourself or like a vision, it just changes your actual abilities to do everything in this world.
And that's also why
and think about art.
And that's also why I've wanted to take it, because of that reason. But obviously it would be like in a controlled environment. It would be like, you know, I'm very aware of what I'm getting, like where I get it from.
Yeah.
So that's you know, that's something I've thought about for a long time. And like I'm still like thinking about, like I'm heavily debating like whether or not I should take it.
Yeah.
Like whether or not you need it. Like what if you see something you don't want to see and there's no purpose to it, you know? Because it's almost
it's up to you. I'll give you a little tip.
Mm-hmm.
That I went to like a whole event series where they spoke about psychedelics and especially ayahuasca, where they went on a trip and why people do it.
Yeah.
You go there to see messages, to find a purpose, to find like a service, to figure out yourself and what you are actually here to do. And it's going to give you clues, but it's up to you to take those clues and put them in. So if you do see something negative or something that you don't like, it's up to you to embrace that energy and pursue it. If you don't want to, just let it go away.
Because it's almost like, what if you see how you die? Or like, what if you know when you die? It's like, do you really want to know that information? Like, what if you understand how the world fully works and how the universe works, and you realize you're a small spectrum in something so big? How do you
come back from that?
Yeah. And like, it also depends on how strong your mindset is. But like, to make it clear, like, would you want to know how you die and when?
That's a great question, honestly.
And that's also why I'm debating it, because I'm like, what if I find out something like that, you know, that's like, you didn't really need to know that. You didn't really need to know when this person or this person passes away. You didn't really need to know what this person actually thinks.
But honestly, like from all the people I've known that have taken psychedelics and every single like video or documentary I've watched,
it's never something. Yeah,
I never heard somebody mention like about, you know, death or like somebody else, you know, dying. I don't know.
At least that they talked about. So like and like I get that too, but it's also like it's a thing like I'm thinking about, you know, like, so because I'm thinking about it, it might actually happen.
Yeah. So you gotta stop thinking.
No. So that's why I'm just like, do I really need it? You know.
Yeah.
And you know that's a question I've asked myself so many times and stuff.
But like, I'm gonna go back to that topic of art and psychedelics just because I had this idea, and this is gonna be a theory.
Yeah.
But think about all the stuff that artists create, like visions, you know, paintings, visuals, specifically visuals, just for this discussion. What if that's from a different dimension and they just have that access, that door tapped in? Like, you know how you sleep and you would see shapes?
Yeah.
What if artists are tapped into another dimension where they see some of this stuff and then they're like, all right, let me bring this back to Earth.
And it doesn't make sense and stuff to this world. Yeah. And it's crazy because when they were explaining the dimensions, how it works. So when you're a 2D person, like say if you were a 2D person, you would only see like a shape and stuff, like a hand going like this, right? So say this is your plane of sight, like my finger and stuff, right?
Right.
And to describe it for the podcast, if you draw like a little, I guess like a little vision thing, like I don't even know how to describe it. Like draw 2 lines, right? And in between those 2 lines, that's all you'll see. So if you pass something between those 2 lines, so say like these are the 2 lines, right? You pass something in between, the vision is right here. So all you see is like random shapes like shifting like that, but you don't know it's a hand. And then and because you only see in 2D, but if you see in 3D, then you'll make sense that it's a hand. And when you see things in a different dimension, it doesn't make sense because you can't see the full thing. So you only see parts and bits and pieces of it, and it starts to look crazy. You're just like, what the fuck is this? It's like shape shifting.
Yeah,
but it's not. It's one piece, but it's like it's part of a whole. So, and like, that's probably like when they draw like art stuff like that, that's probably what they mean. And I saw like something that they were talking about, like the Egyptian, like, you know, that eye of Horus or something like that.
Hieroglyphics that they have?
No, the eye from like the Egyptians and stuff.
Yep.
They think that like it might be the brain structure, like in the back, like the whole spinal thing. Like if you look at the, like how the brain anatomy is and like how that loop is, it's like that's literally like the loop in the brain and stuff. So I think that might be the actual third eye when people talk about.
I mean, you never know. Like, I mean, I've watched enough Ancient Aliens.
With that guy?
Yeah. Georgius Pastalopoulos.
Aliens.
Yeah. But just looking at the pyramids, bro, there's got to be some sort of knowledge, something that either the people knew or if there's aliens. And I'm going to drop this bomb right now. If you don't think there's any life outside of Earth, you must be crazy, because there is billions of other galaxies.
Like, how would you? We haven't even explored the oceans. Like how we've explored like 5%. I think that's what like the statistics are. And it's just like, how do you?
There's a whole nother world on our world.
And
think about that.
And we can't even explore because we can't get to it. So how do you expect us to be the only living species on the entire everything?
Yeah, and check this out too. I'm gonna explore this thought with you. Joe Rogan mentioned this one time, and I think he was smoking and he just took a hit and then he just dropped it. So it's a little out there, but it makes sense. If you look at humans and dolphins, they have a similar cerebral cortex, I believe, which is a part of your brain that does a lot of, critical thinking or whatever the case may be. And it's quite astounding that they actually communicate through sound waves, and they're so smart, and that their brain structure is like so similar to ours, that at one point he said, what if both animals or dolphins and humans were one? And at one point in time, something happened.
That they split?
And one species split on Earth for land,
and then
which
one
is us.
Species split like...
And one went in the water.
Oh, shit.
And there's a whole like another world in water, in the ocean. And if you look at our bodies, more than half of our bodies produced from water. There's a huge connection that we have with water, whether it's for life, whether it's for growing, anything. That could be something out there.
I never thought about that either. That'd be crazy.
Let's do a fundraiser for Joe Rogan's idea.
Is that how we became mermaids and shit? Like,
oh, right. That's how
we found our dolphin.
DJ Flav got his name. Sorry, bro. I had to bring that one up. Love you, man.
Yo, Flav is funny.
Yeah, he's a man.
All right. So let's go back into when we were talking about art, right? So what do you want to portray in your art? How do you, when you first started doing photography or video, when you first started working out, what do you want to influence people? You said you want to be a role model.
Yeah, absolutely. So just on the level of art or visuals, one thing that I strongly want to portray, honestly, is emotion. I want people to look at my art and I want them to feel the emotion.
Yeah.
This way that, they put on my clothing. I'm just going to bring it to Rivals. I want people to put on the clothing and get to a state of flow. And what I mean by flow is like, let's say when you're working on, I'm going to give you a perfect example, just especially because you're a photographer. When you're working on photography, right? And you got music playing, but you're so deep into the edit, you're killing it.
You didn't even know the music's playing.
You didn't even know the music's playing. You're just in that state of flow, right? So if I could capture triggers in my videos and in my photography that bring other people into their own state of flow, they're going to remember that with the V, with my logo. So that when they do see the logo, I want them to hit state of flow. It's like, all right,
There's like-
rivals,
Yeah.
let's fucking go to work. I'm in my flow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I want to capture that emotion through videos and photos and bring that out.
That's very interesting. That's nice. How do you plan on doing that then?
Getting the right people on video who have that same energy that you could feel that we spoke about. You know, a lot of the people that I'm surrounded by with, sometimes they don't even have to speak. You just sit in the same room with them. Even if you meditate with them where it's just peace and quiet, no thoughts in your brain.
They have this energy.
You could feel that energy, and it's so strong.
It's very real. Like I
is.
never noticed that because throughout my life, like I've had different friend groups, and I know most people do, but a lot of people tend to stick to a friend group, and you know they reach out to other friend groups, but they're still connected to that one friend group.
Right.
But like me as a person, I've literally detached myself from a full friend group and moved on to different friend groups, especially after high school.
Been there.
So I never noticed that naturally I tend to like just move on to people who would benefit, but not just like in that, like I don't consciously make that decision, but I naturally move on to people who I don't think are gonna influence me in a good way anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean they're like a bad influence. It just means like I need to move on to something else. And naturally, like I've had migrated like that when I want to know something, you naturally move on to a group that knows something.
Mm-hmm.
And although this sounds very common sense, not many people actually do it. Not many people are actually like, they think about it. They're just like, oh, like I got to do this and stuff like that. Or they have like a.
They're not present. They don't feel it at that moment
like
to really get that. Stay
like,
woke. You gotta stay woke. That's what you gotta do. They're just not woke.
So like if I want to be a photographer, videographer, I'm not hanging out with like my skater friends. I'm not hanging out with like my soccer friends unless you know there's a purpose behind it. I'm not hanging out with my other friends and stuff. But it doesn't mean I'm not cool with them. It just means like I literally just don't hang out with them. Like I'm just like completely detached from them. And I just moved on. So it's weird because some people like they like, oh, I want to be this, I want to be that, but they're still around the same people and it's not really helping them.
Yeah.
So
you know, it's funny. Speaking about energy, I always feel like I could sense somebody's energy very strongly, just because I do feel like my presence is pretty strong.
Yeah.
And the first time I met you, out of everybody there, I felt your energy for sure, and I knew I'm like this guy does something. He wants to move forward, wants to grow, wants to excel. And like even just how I saw your work and everybody else around you in the studio was a little bit messy. You were always like organized and on your shit. And
Thank
your
you,
work
man.
is like very detailed. And I'm like,
it's likewise, man.
vibe.
Like this is why I want to do like a podcast too,
Yeah.
because it's just like I like hanging out with people that like you always notice it. Like you're right, you always notice it. And when like you know you and like
I do.
Sean, like both of you guys, like I sense that. Like I'm just like, yo, you guys are like. It seems like you guys are genuine people, and it seems like you guys have been through shit.
Yeah.
You guys know like pain and stuff like that. Although everyone, I feel people get into this competition like who has had the bigger pain,
right.
and they're just like, you know, I've been through more shit, so I would know more. It's just like no, like everyone has the same level of
Everybody
feeling.
has a story.
Everyone has the same level of feeling. My worst case scenario might be your best case scenario, but I still felt that feeling.
Exactly.
So, what if so I'm bringing an example. My house is my apartment burned down before. I lost everything. I forget that that's such a traumatizing experience for some people, because for me, I thought of it as a fresh start. I was just like, when it happened, first thing, I came back from school. That was like junior year of high school. Came back from school. I was like, oh shit, like I saw firefighters, but then I'm just like, oh, like it's nothing. I saw my apartment. I was like, oh shit, like
Wow.
it's like, it's burnt.
That's crazy.
And I saw my family outside. So I was like, immediately, like, I'm just like, all right, that's solved. My family's fine. No one else is in there. They're not like
That's all you
trapped or
need.
anything. And then I felt relief. I was just like, we could start all over, because there was a lot of like negative energy there. There was a lot of like old things. We lived there for our entire lives. I was like 18, 17 when that happened. We lived there for so long, and I'm just like, we could start all over.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the first thing I thought about. And after a while, I thought I was in shock because I didn't feel anything. And one of my neighbors and stuff, he was asking me like, yo, you okay? Because I was just sitting down on the curb, and like I wasn't really like, I guess I was trying to feel like
sorrow, right? You wanted to feel
I was
sorrow,
trying
like,
to, and I couldn't. I was just like, I mean, it's fine, but I thought I was in shock because of that. Because someone was just like, "Yo, you good, man? Like, I see what happened. Like, if you need anything, like, I could help. Like, you know, let me know and stuff."
Yeah.
And shout out to him. Like, he was a neighbor from like my friend, like my friend Matt Feliciano's Bloc and stuff. Like he's a cool person and stuff. But he was asking me like, yo, if you need anything, like, you know, like, are you okay and stuff. But I felt okay though. I was just like, no, like I'm good though. And I was trying to feel. I was like, yo, like just let this happen already. Like I just need to feel what happened. But I couldn't. Like I was just like, it's gonna be fine.
Did it ever come?
No. And
No.
and that's how I know. Like it wasn't. It was. I didn't really
That's
feel that
amazing.
way. And it's been years. It's been like 8 years. No, it's been like 7 years. Something
Tomorrow
like that.
you wake up, you're like, I can't go outside, bro.
I'm
It hit
crying
me.
and shit.
It hit me.
But
Nah,
yeah,
man,
like I just thought about it. I was just like, it's gonna be fine. Like I mean,
Word. You just wired different, bro. You just woke and you feel that
and
emotion.
I
that
feel like
energy.
I got very lucky because of that.
Well, you know what it is? You realized the most important thing that was safe. And when you saw your whole family and it was good, honestly, everything else is replaceable.
And that's what we thought. Like my dad thought the same way. And then my
Yeah.
mom at first, she was like, no, like you know, because she's very sentimental.
She's a mom just like mine.
Yeah.
You know, you could buy a home, you could buy a house,
Yeah,
but a woman, she makes it a home.
yeah, she does.
So
Man.
they get attached to that too, and they
I
have.
know. My mom was like everything. Yo, I had
They create that energy.
lucky parents. Yo, like I got lucky that my parents are both very supportive and stuff. So
Same.
that, and I understand that not many people have that. But like I said, going back to like what you want to portray, that's interesting because emotion is very tough to like kind of do.
Mhm.
And it's funny because like when you think about art, it's hard to know how people feel, like control emotions and stuff.
Mhm.
But if you really think about it, there's an actual science for it, like everything, you know, like there's a science to like how people feel and like what makes people feel a certain way. When it comes to visuals, like I never thought of myself as a creative, but I first learned the basics, like, you know, rule of thirds,
Yeah.
you know, color, what makes people feel a certain way.
Landscapes.
Yeah, and you over time you learn it, and that becomes like a skill. And controlling emotions is just like just knowing how it works, honestly.
And it's a I feel like it's a tough skill to master, but it's easy to learn, if that makes sense. Because like you could take black and white and put it on a photo and bring out like a more sorrow, more gloomy,
Yeah.
just through black and white. But if you merge the black and white and you put it in a specific tone, it creates a whole different emotion just by the tone of the black or just by the tone of the white. It's like a grayish.
Yeah, no, it's
You know,
interesting
so
how
it's-
it's interesting how that works.
It's cool how it works.
I've always thought it was interesting. That's why like I want to actually like when you read the book How to Influence and Influence People, it sounds bad. It sounds like you're trying to manipulate
Yeah,
people.
yeah, exactly. But it's
And-
the complete opposite.
yeah.
It's such a genuine and grateful.
Yeah. And it's things like I've read
Discussion.
it and I was just like, oh, like I understand why people like talking to me now because I do this. And
And
like
just-
it makes sense.
Just to give the listeners just some examples, you know, asking questions and being genuinely interested in somebody gives them that door opening of trust where they could actually speak to you and feel more comfortable. And if you guys want another tip, I'm going to have to make you read the book, but always,
Sponsor.
exactly, right? I get sponsored by the book. Always, when you speak to somebody, always call them by their first name.
Yeah.
Because
It's very-
hearing your first name or somebody calling you, it's very rewarding. It makes you feel good. That's why when you call out, you know, it's like you don't go, yo, bro, even though you can. But if you say, yo, Elvis,
It's just like, oh.
hey, what's up?
Oh,
That's me.
you know what's crazy?
That's
I've
me.
noticed that you and Sean both do that.
What's that?
You guys use first names a lot.
Yeah.
So I remember when I first met you guys, like I was just you guys use like the first name part, and I noticed it because I'm just like, you guys definitely learned that somewhere.
What book was that? What chapter?
No, but it's funny because like I noticed that like that you were conscious to say someone's
absolutely.
name, and like it was genuine. But I'm just saying, like I knew you were conscious to put in the effort. Like I felt the effort put into that. It wasn't like you forced it. It wasn't like you're just like, oh, let me use this tactic real quick.
Yeah, and it's
But-
not like I sit there and I'm like, I got to use a tactic. Like, a lot of the times when I get somebody's name, I literally sit there and I'm like, all right, that's Elvis.
Yeah, because then you forget.
Because I forget. And I always want to make sure I remember somebody's name, because when you do, it really does.
And one other thing too,
Change.
like
Change the whole
this
vibe.
this is really good for interviews. So, people naturally like talking about themselves,
Yeah.
and if you let the other person talk about themselves, you know, more than you talk about yourself, in their head they're gonna think that this interview went amazing,
Yep.
and that this whole conversation was amazing, but all they did was talk about themselves. And I've gotten like every single job interview in that sense. So when somebody's talking, I'm just like, yo, like they ask me so like, tell me about yourself. And I'm just like, oh, like I do this and that. But like, I'm interested in you. Like, what do you do and stuff? How'd you get into this position? Yeah. So then they're just like, oh, it's like, like this is what I did.
Oh man.
And then it works. And like I'm being cocky right now, but every job interview I went to, it was a guaranteed job like the next day. And I think it's because of that. I think it's because I'm genuinely interested in people. So then when I ask them about themselves, they talk the whole time. And every interview I've been to has been like 2-3 hours, bro.
Yo, it's so funny you bring that up. I'm gonna bring a quick story to William Patterson. I was in the sales program, and it was my first interview with a company called First Data. They do like credit card transactions, like the processing.
That sounds sketchy.
But yo, I was so nervous, so scared for this interview. I dressed up. I was like, yeah, I look fly. I'm doing this. And then I didn't have such a background like some of these kids I went to school with. They had, all these like shows they went to. They had all these interviews, super confident.
Masters and shit.
Yeah. And I was looking for like interview tactics. And they were like, ask the person about themselves when you get the chance. Same thing, bro. I walk in this interview, shitting bricks. But I kept it cool, right? That guy goes in, blah, 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 starts it off. All right, man. So tell me about yourself. He hit me with that. Just like, fuck, oh boy, tell me about myself. So I quickly thought, I got a little paragraph, said it, and I'm like, and what about yourself? And I hit him with that, and that just opened the door, and I just kept nailing him with the questions, bro. Hour went by, he's like, thanks, man. I looked, I'm like, wow, he didn't ask me any questions. I'm like, I'm good. And I did get the call. I got the call back to the second interview, and I killed that shit. And I actually got the offer, but I never took that.
But the point is you got the offer though, yeah.
Yeah, so it worked. But, it was
insane. No, it's a real thing. So like because I know a lot of people are very afraid of interviews, and it's very intimidating because people think like it's just like people come into this mindset like, oh, I hope they like me, I hope they take me, I hope everything. Yeah. But my mindset is like, I hope I like that place,
right?
Because I'm gonna be working there, I'm gonna be putting my effort. Absolutely. I hope I like that place, and although like I don't want to be like in a job environment like that, but the mindset is just like I hope I like them. Instead of I hope they like me, it's more of me accepting myself, and I don't care what they think of me. I hope I like them though, because they're gonna have the presence of like
that's
having me and shit.
That's a woke mentality, bro. So it's just seeing a different perspective.
Yeah, and it works. So interviews, man, you gotta ask them the questions. I even asked my last interview. I was just like, why did this person leave? Like, I'm just like, why are you guys hiring? Are you guys expanding, or are you guys like?
You're in trouble.
So there's like, but it works though, man. All right, so let's talk about what do you want to accomplish? What's your end goal?
So that's a great question, and even though I do have a vision, a strong vision for all the different mediums that I'm trying to create, at the end of the day, I still feel like my passion or my purpose is still yet to come.
Yeah.
As crazy as it sounds, I'm 27 now, although I've been fitness all my life.
I mean, you're still so young, though. Like, it's like you could be the next 20 years and still not find a purpose, and you'll still be in a good spot.
Not even that, bro. Just, I've never felt stronger. I'd never felt faster. I never felt more energized than I do now. And, like, at 18, I was, like, fit. I could run, like, a mile in, like, crazy time. I was so insane, beast. But I never felt like I do now. Now I just feel the energy. I feel the vision, the passion.
Like, your mentality is, like, there.
The mentality, and just even how I connect with other humans. I feel like I'm starting to understand the power to bring people up.
I hate when people
and I'm going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I hate when people are just like, like humans suck, like, and this is why I love animals. Like, yo, shut the hell up, change your attitude, yo.
Right, it's crazy.
People are amazing, yo.
Now you got to protect your vibe. You can't just dish it out to everybody. But for those that want to explore it and you feel their genuine energy, do it, because at the end of the day, bro, life is about love.
Yeah, man.
It really is. If you think about it, like...
So how do you plan on trying to figure out your...
Passion?
Yeah.
Well...
Is this what the ayahuasca's doing?
Honestly, like, that's one of the questions I'm going to ask.
Yeah.
Now, I know, like, fitness right now is my passion. It could change one day.
Yeah.
I'm being led in a direction right now, and I trust it. Right? So...
Like, it feels right.
It feels right.
No matter what happens, it feels right.
It feels right. So definitely my, 5 to 10 year end goal, Rivals, I want it to be huge, a multi-country, multi-planet. If it's on Mars, bet My clothing will be on Mars.
Elon up there right now.
Word, I'm about it. But I want it to be in every country. I want it to be as huge as possible, and I want it to actually influence people. You know, I want to have a team, a huge team of our athletes, and we go along with Sean and everybody else, travel across the world, and we just speak and we talk to kids, we talk to adults, and
when you guys went to Cali, yo, I was just like, damn, yo, I needed to go on that trip.
That was a different vibe. That was a different experience.
Talk about Cali, actually. How was that? Like, I wanted to ask you about that because you recently went to California.
Yeah.
But you road tripped a good amount of places. You went to Yosemite, right?
Yeah, so we were actually going to go from one coast down the coast, up and down the coast, but we kind of veered off track and we went to Joshua Tree, the desert.
Yeah.
Once we went to Joshua Tree, honestly, the peace, tranquility, the sunset, the sunrise, the animals, it was just literally us in the van. Nothing else. No service. We stayed there extra days. We were like, yo, honestly, whatever happens in the trip, let's just flow with it. Let's just stay here. I'm so relaxed. I had eggs. I had bacon. I had veggies. I had my whole game. Bro, we were on the gains the whole time. Perfect meals. You know, amazing time.
You guys packed mad food then.
Yeah, we had a little fridge, so we prepped, you know, thinking ahead, avocados, all the good stuff. And just being in that energy, that quietness, I wanted to get away because every time they go to Cali, it's like, yo, LA this, you know, I want to go to Hollywood this. And it's like, nah, man, I want to feel nature. I want to feel like where we
California,
come from.
You know.
And I've seen all that stuff because I went 3 times already. So
to LA and
I went to San Francisco, Napa Valley, San Diego.
How is San Fran actually? Do you like it?
Yeah, I love it. One thing I'd recommend though, bro, stretch and get a pre-workout or something because you be working out these legs. Yo, all the streets are like this. And they have steps on the streets. So you could go up because it's so steep. Bro, when I got there, first of all, it was a trip on myself, right? I got stressed and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take this week off. I'm going to just leave everybody, just go by myself and just visit Cali. And that's what I did. And I get to San Fran. I walk up to my first block and I'm just like, hey, yo, why is this so steep and why is there so many stairs? Let me walk up it. Pop, 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 pop. I get to the top, another one. I was just like, oh boy.
Yo, that's crazy.
All day. Just uphills all day.
That's crazy, man.
When I got to my hotel room or Airbnb, bro, my thing was like, do. I was like, whoa.
Yo,
I'm back jacked.
That's crazy, man. That's intense, man. I hear like San Fran's like that.
It's amazing, especially for photographers too.
So because the vision, it's why? Because the landscapes and everything.
Oh, amazing, bro. Colors. You got the Golden Gate Bridge, of course. Everybody always.
That's scary though. The Golden Gate Bridge, like you think about how many suicides have been there.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm just like, yo, that's like weird. You feel the energy there, you know.
You do.
Every time I look at a photo of it, I'm just like, I feel like.
But a lot of people always, I feel like, shoot it in a gloomy time for some reason. But then again, San Francisco is known as the fog city, I think they're called.
Yeah.
And it was just foggy most of the time I was there. So.
But can you still see like landscapes and stuff, or is it like?
Yeah, there's a certain time, like the mornings, always foggy and colder.
Yeah. And
then it warms up a little bit, clears out, and then it comes back into like a fog, and then you hit night. So it was dope. I rode my bike through it.
Damn, bugging.
Yo, the wind. I was like, I'm a falling. It was hitting me hard, bro.
Damn, man.
But I pulled through. I rode my bike for like 8 hours that day.
Damn, man, you're bugging.
I went by myself, bro, so I did exactly what I wanted to do, you know?
Actually, yeah. I went to Mexico City by myself and like...
Word. It's a different experience like, being by yourself,
yo,
right?
You know what's funny, though?
You learn so much.
My favorite part was electric scooters because they have them parked everywhere.
So
you get the
Cali?
app. You get the app and you just like... So I was like...
There's talks about that, too. People hate that because it is pretty bad, yeah. I was walking at night just clipping one at one. I'm like, yo, they're everywhere. But it is convenient.
It's crazy though,
and it's smart.
No, it is actually. All right, so let's talk about who would you want to work for, or who would you want to work with, like end goals.
So my goal is being in that goal right now, and it's working for myself. When I left corporate, I told myself I would never work for anybody else again. So I want to stay true to that.
Oh, where did you work in corporate though? Like, what were you doing?
So I was working in sales, and I was doing cybersecurity. So for the first year and a half, crazy. I worked for a company here in Clifton, and I was selling cybersecurity to larger companies.
Yeah.
You know, there were some big names that we work with, like UPS, you know, Sherwin-Williams. And I sold to schools. I've seen the dark web. I've been on the dark web. I mess with malware. I moved up pretty quick and I became a team lead, essentially a manager. Yeah. And I had a group of 8 and we all worked together to just grind it out and be the best we could be. So we made some good money there. And there's a lot of things that I learned from the books that I applied, and it was good to see them doing it.
But it wasn't you though. It was you for a point.
It was me for a point, right? Because the money was good, the energy was sick. You know, we had bells in the sales floor. Like when you got a sale, you rang it, everybody went ham, screaming, yelling, balls were flying, you know. And if you got a big sale, like it was just like, let's go, baby.
That's crazy. That's
grinding,
cool.
You know. I didn't want to leave. I stayed there all day, learning, grinding.
That's cool though.
Bought my own programs. I bought my own computer to set up a whole network, and like we were starting messing with my boy with malware. It was a great experience, but that company wore me out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took out my energy, my soul. It was more about them
than
me. And I put a lot of my passion into that. So it kind of just wore me out. So I left to another cybersecurity company, and we were selling to the government for quite some time.
Yeah.
And then we started selling more to the commercial space. And it was, even though it was for a different company, man, it was just the same feeling. And I know this wasn't me. And I'm like, even though I'm still young.
And it was you for a while though, but it's just like after a while, like, you know.
You just kind of lose that spark, you know, and I'm not going to be the type to sit there just because the money's good and be like going through that. Like life's too short, man.
Yeah.
I don't care if I'm eating cardboard and drinking water. You know, if I'm doing what I love, I'm happy, man. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm happy.
That's interesting. That's good, man.
So that was that.
And then, so like now let's go into like who would you want to work with or for? Especially with like rivals or when it comes to photo and video. Yeah,
absolutely. So I don't really have too many individuals like specifically that I'd want to collab with. I do have one, which would be Lift Apparel. And I'm gonna put this out in the universe right now because I know one day it's going to happen. Lift Apparel has a fitness clothing line, and they specifically are geared more towards like the West Coast vibe.
Yeah.
I want to bring rivals and that East Coast vibe.
And be the East Coast.
And collab that. And the East Coast, West Coast vibe.
And the Mid Coast.
And the Mid Coast. And come out with some fire shit. So 2 years ago, I told Randall, who's the CEO, that I would meet him one day. Right? Last year, I got that chance.
How'd you tell him?
Hit him up on Instagram, and I took a screenshot.
He answered?
No, he didn't.
Oh. So you're going to bring that up to him? Be like, yo, what the fuck?
Nah, yeah. Well, he was already like pretty big influencer, so I wouldn't expect it. But I sent that out 2 years ago to the universe that we would make a collab one day, and that one day I would give him a piece of my product before it came out. Last year, that's what I did. I met him.
Yeah?
Yeah, I met him at the Arnold Classic in Columbus, and I gave him my hat. He actually signed one of mine too. So little things like that I believe in. And, you know, that is the first part that came true. I still got to get that collab, so I'm working towards that. One day it's going to happen. So I'm very confident, but that's kind of the only person that I'd want to really...
The one you would really want to collab with?
Collab and work with.
So once that happens, that's kind of like you're like, oh shit, this actually happened kind of moment? Or... Because I want 2 people. So one person is like the next person you want to collab with.
Yeah.
Like next on your list. The second person would be like, once you do that, you're just like, oh shit, like I made it in a way.
You know, honestly, for me, it would be that. Just not because of like his popularity, although Lift Fit Apparel is pretty established and they're big. They have a big following. It's just what that person brought out of me, the energy that I felt when I was listening to his story. Because I saw his brand when it was first on the come up.
Oh,
when he was selling his shit out his room, that's when I was buying his shit.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, yo, this is so dope. Like,
because like you see the grind and stuff, you know?
Yeah, man. And I was just so happy to be a part of one of his like growing customers that he just inspired me. And I feel
kind of like when Amazon first started, like if you were part of that shit.
Yeah, in that little room, you ever see the photo with Jeff Bezos?
It's crazy.
With the old computer.
Richest dude ever now.
You know, so that's one day. And like obviously if like Adidas or somebody would reach out, even though that's not really my target market or even a competitor.
Yeah, you know, that'd be dope. Like, you want to go for him just because like you there's a backstory to it.
Yeah,
so
you know, it's more than just clothing.
It's more sentimental in a way.
Yeah, it's more than just clothing.
Okay, that's fair enough. So when you do photography or video, and especially with like the rival brand, where do you draw influence from?
That's a great question. And honestly, I would say my friends and mostly social media. You know, I come across other videos and I see certain angles and certain looks. And sometimes I kind of draw back to like my childhood.
Yeah.
And all the wild shit that I used to think about, be like, wow, you know, one day I want to do this with photos or maybe do this with video, but that's so far away and like that's never going to be me because like I didn't have the same mindset then.
Yeah, no, I look at myself now, like back, even like even like a year ago, like I just see how my mindset is, and it's crazy how much you grow, and like you don't notice it, and you don't notice that certain things you did is part of a whole of whatever happened,
right?
Until you look back and you're just like, that was the right path. Like, I'm happy I took that path.
Right, I learned. Yeah, so
so it is crazy. People always look. So one thing, like I've stated, like I've said before, but it's kind of like one of my friends like quoted me on on one of my posts, and I'm just like, oh shit, like I never actually thought about that, but I believe in that so much. It's like people are constantly looking for signs to kind of lead them somewhere, but you're the ones putting those signs in the first place to lead yourself somewhere.
And the signs are there. You just gotta take it like that opportunity.
The signs are there because you put them there.
Yeah.
It's not even like I'm looking like, oh, like I want God to show me like this sign, like whatever you believe. But you're the one putting that sign ahead of yourself, and you're like, oh, I found my own sign. So it's not. It doesn't make sense. It's like whatever you put in the, like what you said, whatever you put in the universe and stuff.
But that belief of putting the sign there and being like, I know it's gonna happen. I feel it. As
opposed to like, I hope something happens.
Right. Because when you do feel it and you're like, all right, I'm going to put that sign there, and you come across it like you did with the book, you know to take that door. You open and you go through it.
Because you put it there so you would recognize it.
If you're just like, oh, I hope, that sign flies right by you and you see it and you're like, no, that wasn't it. And you keep going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That wasn't it.
That's crazy, man. Long story short, people create you create your own signs. You can't rely on people or something or some kind of force, whatever you believe in. I feel like it's the same thing. You can't rely on that having to give you a sign. You have to actively look out for it because you're the ones putting those in the first place.
Right.
So it's crazy though. But once you get that mindset, then you realize that everything works in your favor, no matter what happens. So I want to get into, this was actually one I wanted to get into with you specifically. You're very disciplined. You're very, and I know that for a fact. You're a very disciplined person. So, when it comes to success, people talk about that success is not something you do, but it's like little things you do over time. What are your daily routines to kind of help you reach the success you want?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So, I've been in the last year really diving deep into human optimal performance. And what
Explain that. Okay, yeah.
What I mean by human optimal performance is feeling your best every single day in terms of mental focus, in terms of physical strength, in terms of emotional intelligence, in terms of energy, right?
Yeah.
So like, as I said before, I was always fit, athletic, and like even when I was happy, I would wake up and I would feel good. But when I got introduced to this new level of nutrition and just mental focus and training, it took that to a whole new level. Like when I wake up, the energy's crazy. And it's not like I'm groggy all day. Like I don't even need a coffee. I just like you. I like the smell of it and the taste. So I just get one. But like I could survive without it. I don't need it. You know what I'm saying?
It's so funny. I literally get up.
It's just like
I grind the beans. I heat up the water. I get my French press. I'm just like
and
pouring
I'm out.
it over.
I'm not going to drink. I'm out.
And I leave it there and I forget about it. I go work and edit. I'm just like, yo, I'm good. I got my coffee.
Yeah. That's exactly it though. But you know, I start my day. First thing I do is I make myself a cocktail. And this cocktail includes Himalayan salt, lemon and water.
So explain why the cocktail then?
Absolutely. So when you look at humans and our body, it's made from, I believe, what is this? Almost 70% water, if I'm not mistaken, 68?
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range. That medium. When you go to sleep, right, your body's still working. Your body's still running on fuel. It's breaking down food. Sometimes when you wake up, you might feel that the bed is a little sweaty, or you yourself are, just sweating out through the night, whether it was a nightmare or it was hot, whatever. You're losing water throughout sleep. So when you wake up, you're dehydrated, right?
Yeah.
But what's the first thing that we do? We're just accustomed to go for a coffee and drink coffee.
Instead of like water or
coffee
something.
Is another thing that dehydrates your body even more. So think about it. All the organs are running on agua, right? Now, example, perfect. Think of a car, right? All the pistons, the engine, everything. It needs to run smoothly on oil. Would you get in a car, start it, and drive off if you knew it didn't have oil?
No, it's true.
You wouldn't, right? So what do? You hit yourself first with water. You put Himalayan salt, not regular salt, key Himalayan salt because it's not processed, right? And has all the minerals. And the salt helps you actually absorb the water even more in your body.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of long distance runners who like run for miles, obviously they need to keep a lot of water in their body, so they can't run with a water bottle nonstop because it's just weight, and they got to be in their flow. So they actually take salt pills to help the water hydrate their body more. Yeah. So you have that salt, drink the water, and then the lemon, of course, just the actual vitamins it provides. There's so many benefits to it.
Just like the bitter taste, like apparently like just
vitamin
the
C.
acids are just like
exactly.
They clean you.
It keeps your body alkaline. So when you hit that, you literally feel like my chest literally goes like this. I just feel awake.
Yeah?
Yeah. And that's the first thing I do.
So when you get up, do you have it prepared already, or do you
I just wake up and I actually do 15 burpees. So I get out of bed, I hit 15 burpees.
Like right away?
Yep. Not as a workout.
But just to wake yourself up.
Just to get that blood working.
I hear that. I hear like the first 5 minutes or 7 minutes are crucial. Mm-hmm. So when you wake up, you should like energize. And then, and then this was like an interview with Gary Vee. So he was talking about it. And he's just like, yo, I'm going to just wake up and just fucking run out the house and shit.
Word. I mean, when I used to go like running at like 5 a.m., I would lay out the clothes right there. So I wake up, put it on, and I just run out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I would just, I'm out. But now it's way too cold. But
So
hit the burpees.
So you hit the burpees.
Go downstairs, and I got my cocktail. Now, because it was winter, I couldn't go outside and get light.
Yeah.
But light is crucial, especially the vitamin D. Pause.
Like the first day in the, like...
you got to get the D.
Like the first...
You got to get the D. The vitamin D, bro. And for the winter, I was actually taking supplements, vitamin D supplements, to give me that. Because especially as a creative, you stay inside all the time.
Oh, man.
And as a human... naturally,
it's not good.
We go from the light. That's like our living life source. So they actually have headphones that you could use, which emits light sound. It's something it's called.
What?
It's crazy. You actually have light goes through your ears, and you absorb the actual minerals through the certain part in your ear. It's crazy.
That sounds crazy.
And they actually have headphones that you could use, and it plays a certain emitting light sound. I forgot what it's called. And Aubrey Marcus, he's the CEO of On It, which is a huge optimal performance supplement company.
And shit.
And he actually, I read it in his book, and he that's one of the things he does. But you know, summer's coming now, so you can wake up early and just sit outside for a few minutes, get that sun.
So you do that like an optimal situation, like not including like winter, because winter here in Jersey.
Well, I do
sucks.
everything else every day. I just take vitamin D supplements for the sunlight. I don't get
for the sunlight, but
burpees,
sunlight is the ideal though.
Yep, burpees, cocktails, sunlight.
Mm-hmm. Then right after that?
And then right after that, depends on my day, but I typically like to meditate at least 10 minutes. If I have time, I will read.
Yeah.
And then I go do what I do best, and I fuck shit up at the gym.
And that's your day up
and that's
until
my
the
little
gym?
routine.
And like that's every single day. How long have you been doing that?
It's been about, I would say 4-5 months. Like everything included. Mm-hmm. Obviously the gym and reading and like meditation, I've been doing it.
Yeah.
But now it's like a routine.
One, yeah.
And I'm also getting into, which is a little difficult now just because it's so cold, but cold showers. Super key. I'm going to put you on, though. There's a difference. You can't just jump in it.
Yeah, you have to like slowly work your way into
There's actually a breathing technique, which Wim Hof developed or found.
Isn't that the guy that swims in like ice?
Exactly. And it works. It really does work. Trust me. When you get into this breathing pattern and you get under this cold water, I crank my shit all the way down. It doesn't even go anymore. And I stand there and I don't feel any pain. It actually gets hot, the cold water on my body. And I look down and it's red. But my body's red from all the cold. And I'm just chilling there like in a state of meditation. Just like, yo, I don't feel it.
You wake up in a block of...
I wake up frozen.
You're going to find these block this fun.
I got to do what I got to do. Yo, but the benefits... insane.
They're ridiculous. It helps your immune system and everything. Like once your immune system is good, like everything in the world is like good because your immune system is like key.
So you're actually putting stress on your body. As crazy as it sounds, it's good stress. It's called acute stress.
Yeah, because it's like training. It's like working out. Like you're putting stress in your body, but it's like...
Bro, think of us when we first were like evolving into this race where we're having buildings and all ACs and heat, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, you and I would just be chilling in underwear, running out in the cold and be like, yo, it's cold. I got to get used to this shit, right? I ain't got no AC. I ain't got no heat. Now it's like it's cold.
We get comfortable.
Right? So our bodies, you know, sensitivity
it is
increases.
hard in the winter, like, to start it, because when I was in Mexico, there was no showers. Like, over there, it was a bucket of water. You just like,
yeah.
And the first thing in the morning, like, I had to wake up like before sunrise. So
that shit woke you up, right?
So I felt good though. Like, it felt nice, good. But that's because the weather outside was like helping. You know, like, it wasn't hot, but it wasn't
bearable.
It wasn't like 8 degrees. You know,
it was bearable, but.
Because you're just showering with ice at that point. But exactly. Like, I would want to get to that point. It's just, it is hard to get to that point, because to start it, I think in the summer I'm gonna really try to get used to it. At least in the summer, at least do it the whole time.
It's just the breathing, bro. Once you get the breathing, I give you like 3-4 days, and you'll be able at.
I'm gonna get into that, because I've been wanting to do that for so long, and I have taken cold showers like consciously just to do that. But and it's like it's hard to make it a habit. And
I did it in the month of December. Yeah. And everybody in my family got sick. Even Sean came over my house, and he was sick for like 4 days, coughing in my room. I let him sleep over one night because he was so bad. I was like, I got to take care of my boy. Bro, my whole room full of germs. My mom's sick. My dad's sick. My cats are even sneezing. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I felt it a little bit, but I was like, I'm not getting sick.
Fuck this.
I've been doing this cold shower shit. Bro, I never got sick.
When was the last time you got sick?
I can't give you a date.
Nah, you're lying.
I swear to God, I can't remember. Now, there's been days where I've been like...
Then how long have you been doing the cold showers?
When I first started reading the book, so I started sometime in November, but it wasn't steady. It was like I did it 2 times a week. I did it 3 times a week. And then in like December, I did it for like 3 weeks straight. And that's when I was like ultimate.
So now you do it every single day?
Maybe once a week right now.
How about this morning? Did you shower this morning?
No. It was way too cold. I woke up. It was 6 a.m. I'm like, nah, and I'm not.
Not today.
Not today. I'm waiting.
I hear that's like mad key though.
It is.
Okay, so after the gym, what do you do? Oh, so then your day goes by and stuff. So what about night routines then?
So then just I go into my day, and if it's like, you know, editing, I create a lot of content for rivals, for other people. So like I do photos, I edit. I try to stay as knowledgeable as I can, just because like, you know, I don't have direction. So I go out and search for this. Yeah. I'm curious.
It's hard to give yourself a direction.
Sometimes I look for stuff like, you know, I was creating a pop-up for my newsletter on my website. Yeah. Something that should take me 10 minutes took me 8 hours. And if somebody could have just told me that the pop-up doesn't come up once you go on it the same day because you have to refresh your cache, and I didn't know that. I thought the coding was off. I would have been finished in like 10 minutes, but it took me 8 hours to figure it out.
What do you use to make your website?
I used Shopify. Oh. Shopify, but there's I'm using MailChimp for email automation. Okay. So that was one key thing that I didn't understand or know, and it took me 6 hours just to do a 10-minute job. But
when I made my website, the Squarespace, I couldn't figure it out. Like they say, they made it easy and shit. I'm like, okay, like it should be good. So like I understood it, but there's certain little things that I want to change.
Right, because you're creative.
And it took me hours, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? These guys are bragging that they did it like in a half hour. I'm just like, yo, I haven't gotten a page done. Like, this is crazy.
Yep. The first that I built.
Stupid.
The first that I built took like 3 days. Yeah. Straight. Eyes bleeding, coffee pouring, bro. IV coffee.
Yo, I use IV coffee.
It's pumping into my blood, just knocking it out.
I used up the whole 15-day trial to try to figure it out.
To sign in. To sign in. I just got it. Let me actually buy it.
Oh shit, I gotta buy it. But...
Yeah, but.
So what about your night though? Like, what do you do before you go to bed?
You know, I just kind of I just grind until my eyes hurt. And if I have to wake up early, I try to get recovery sleep because like I train hard. Yeah. And people don't realize that training's important, but recovery is even.
You need sleep too, yo. Like
for everything.
I'm bugging out because I be getting like
2 hours of sleep.
Sometimes, yeah.
Today 3.
Average. I average from like 3 to like 6 hours at most. And, wow. And the thing is that's not good.
It's not.
Because I need to get I need to really get my full 8 hours, because something that Jeff Bezos was saying that he needs is 8 hours, and his most optimal brain functionality is like in the morning. So he has his most important meetings in the morning, and he works his way down. So
it depends on the person, but 6 to 8. Like for me, if I hit like 7, sometimes today I hit 6.5, and I feel great. You know, so it depends on the person. And one thing I learned too is that, you know, when people say, I'm going to go catch up on my sleep.
Yeah.
And
it's a thing.
It is a thing. Teachers used to lie to me and be like, you can't do that, blah, blah, blah. But it's actually a thing.
You sleep the whole day, you catch up your whole week.
Well, not that crazy, but it depends on the actual week as opposed to day. And there's specific, you have sleep cycles that you fall into. Now, I can't really remember the stages, so I'm going to try my best here.
The REM cycles.
Right, so you have your regular sleep where your like eyes are closing, then you fall into sleep where you're kind of like awake but not. Then you get into deep sleep, and then you have REM sleep, I believe, right?
REM is like the last one, yeah.
REM is
that's
the last
where you
one.
dream.
So that's your full sleep cycle, and I believe
it's an hour and a half.
Exactly. So what you do is you want to have, I believe, a specific number of sleep cycles by the end of the week. So let's say if today you got 5 hours, but you're going to go home later and catch an hour of sleep or an hour and a half, add that one sleep cycle to your weekly goal. And then the next day you get another hour or two or maybe half.
Oh, wow.
And you build it up. And by the end of the week, when you hit that sleep cycle, mentally, physically, you should be good. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And there's actually beats, actual beats that you could put in to your ears. So for people who are having trouble sleeping, you could look it up. I think it's called binaural beats on YouTube, and it's just waves that hit specific brain patterns, which help you go to sleep like that. So sometimes when I put it on, I want to take a quick nap, pop it in, I'm out.
Oh shit! Out. Inception shit.
Inception shit. Like, yo, just pop it in, 3-4 minutes, boom, I'm out.
That's interesting. Because like I know there is to catch up on sleep.
And
I understand that like if you're gonna take a nap, it should be in like a 30-minute interval kind of way, because that's part of your REM cycle. If you sleep like 30 minutes, you're good. You sleep like 45, you're a little weird. If
you can even wake up more tired than you were. Yeah, it depends.
So no, that's interesting. So I guess you just grind out until you knock the hell out.
Yeah, I mean, I check my schedule, and if I gotta wake up at 7, then I'm like, all right, let me at least try to get 7 hours of sleep. So I kind of plan my day till then. But like if there's
you don't do anything at night though, like you don't like like face masks and shit, beard care.
Yeah. Honestly, no, dude. I'm just so drained by that time.
Yeah.
I don't really have a ritual.
I love getting to that point though, when my bed feels like the most
heaven.
Yeah.
Like I fall asleep before even hitting the bed.
Yeah.
I'm just falling.
But that's like, I live for that feeling, like I love that feeling. Like I don't like sleeping. I really don't. It's the most annoying process because I'm just like, I really just want to work. And the fact that I'm tired while working, it pisses me off. And I'm just like, yo, this is crazy. And like, I don't really get mad, but like, I'm not saying it pisses me off. Like, I'm not like, but I'm just like, damn, man, like I really want to not be tired.
That's why you have to implement these little routines and habits. And like one thing that I did that really changed the game for me, and it's not for everybody, I do want to say, but I did put a lot of my clients in fitness on this. Crazy results. I got crazy results myself. That's the best way to show people, is just do it yourself. So I try to show everybody. But having a diet in high fats, fiber, and protein is what's gotten my energy levels sky high.
That's the only thing like I wanted to change, because I never noticed about carbs, like how much it really affects you. And I've always wondered why, like after like burgers and fries, I'm just like fucking knocked out and shit.
Bro.
But once I eat those, like I'm conscious, like, all right, if I eat this, you gotta be ready that you're not gonna be energized afterwards.
Yeah.
You gotta take a nap at least.
I grew up by Passaic and Patterson, right on the border of both. So the Spanish influence is crazy. So when I came there, bro, I got introduced to rice and all
those
Spanish foods.
Heavy foods.
And
man.
I've dated a lot of Spanish women, and they could cook. So when the rice bowl came out, bro, I didn't even think twice. I'm like, baby girl, give me all you got. I'm about it. But like after, it's unfortunate because rice turns into a sugar in your body. And if I'm not processing all that sugar, it turns into fat. And a lot of times it just slows you down and then gain weight. And like, it would literally just get me drained. And I would eat rice when I was a bodybuilder every single meal. And I used to always be like, yo, I'm so full, I'm so tired. And I didn't understand. So now, like, I do my best. Like, I honestly don't ever eat any rice, only on occasions.
That's crazy. You haven't dated a Spanish girl in a while then?
Yeah. But I try to stay away from that. And honestly, it's a big difference. Like, I had rice yesterday, just to bring it up.
Yeah.
And I didn't eat rice for like a whole month. And I just felt like drained, tired. I took a nap right after. I'm not even gonna lie. I ate the rice and I'm like, all right.
It's crazy. So what's your diet kind of consists of?
So as I said, proteins, fats, and fiber.
How do you pick that?
So for breakfast, I have eggs, right? And everything else is vegetables. So I have tomatoes.
Cooked or like raw?
I like them raw. So I like tomatoes, tomatoes, cucumbers, pickles, anything, peppers, avocados. I love avocados, high in fat, and I have bacon as well. And I make sure I get the healthier side of things. I go for whole foods. I try to avoid specific oils.
Yeah.
That's in the thing, the way it's processed. And that's my breakfast. And I put MCT oil in my coffee, which I'm going to put you on.
Okay.
Since you kind of do like coffee, kind of not, jump on this. I'm going to tell you why. So
explain that now, actually.
So MCT oil is a coconut derivative.
I hate coconut. Okay.
Coconut oil, right? High in fat. Now, you put it into your coffee. Why? You ever drink coffee and you get that caffeine boost where you're like, all right, I feel it. I'm dope. I'm good. And then 12 o'clock hits and you're kind of like, oh, man.
I actually never crash.
I'm getting crashed for people that do that.
Yeah.
You're just wired different.
Yeah, I drink coffee, but like it does kind of like sometimes, but only if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I never really crashed. Like I'm just like, I just want another coffee.
See, like my body's super sensitive to anything. So when I take coffee, like I'm just like, whoa. Yeah. But then I crash heavy.
Oh, yeah.
So you take MCT oil and the fats, the actual molecules, the caffeine attaches to the fat. Now, since it's a heavy fat, your body takes a lot longer to process that and break it down. So when it's trying to break that fat and has the caffeine in it into your bloodstream, it's releasing it in like spurts. So it's slowly releasing the caffeine into your body. This way you sustain that energy throughout the day. And it's also great for brain function because the fats are just healthy fats.
What do you take what else do you take as supplements though? Do you take supplements?
Honestly, I'm not big into supplements. I only take
like vitamins.
Vitamins, yeah. I do take protein.
Yeah.
But I pay a little bit extra just to get the purest form, and it is vegan, gluten-free. I did try being vegan for a few months. I went vegetarian, so I'm very influenced by that. But
it's not for you?
It's just not for my lifestyle, and it's just too difficult. You know, I'm always on the go.
Man. Bacon, yeah.
Bacon, chicken.
You can't give up bacon. Bacon, eggs.
All that. So a lot of the other meals too, I eat a lot of nuts. Pause.
Yeah. Like big ones? Or?
Honestly, any kind of nuts, bro. As long as they taste good, I'm about it. Pause. But a lot of nuts. And I do a lot of seeds too. So hemp seeds, which are from actual cannabis.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
You could eat those?
You could actually eat those, very high in fat, high in protein. I do that. Chia seeds, flax seeds, avocado oils.
Yeah.
I mix that all in one shake, bro, and just drink it for the day, and you're good. You're set.
Yeah? You gotta put me on a diet, yo. Fuck.
Yeah, it changed. One of my friends that I've been training, the first, I think, month, he lost 30 pounds. And I have about 10 clients now, so.
Yeah, I mean, because like, I don't think I'm like unfit, like I'm not like overweight or anything like that, but I do want to get like optimal, so. I know what you mean.
It's not even about the look. Yeah. For me personally, like I was a bodybuilder.
Like how you feel, like I
so I'm in this game, but how you feel, and even just how you create.
Because I feel great, but it's like I know I could be better.
Absolutely. So. There's always like, even I feel great, and I know there's a different level. That's why I meditate, because meditation too helps you get to that level.
I've noticed that I used to meditate a lot, but like unconsciously.
Yeah.
And it would be, and this is why I feel like I've hallucinated before, like I mentioned before, because it's kind of like the same feel. So when I skated, sometimes I lose energy, because you're skating the full day. Right. So sometimes I'm at a park, and I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna just sit down for a bit. So I literally sit down, cross my legs, and I just kind of like sit like this, just my hands like tucked in. If I'm crossing my legs or just sitting down, I just have my head back, and I just close my eyes. But I'm not sleeping because I hear everything around me.
So you're not really thinking about anything, right?
I'm not thinking about. Yeah, I'm
present.
just like kind of like just I'm just having my eyes closed, just kind of like focus on my breathing. Not even that, actually. It's just beyond that. And then I hear someone say my name. They're just like, "Yo, Elvis is sleeping." I'm like, "Yo, I'm awake, bro." And like, and I'm just there. And like after like I open my eyes again, I feel so much more energized.
And you feel at peace.
Yeah.
Like when I meditate in the park in the summer, I open my eyes and I'm so calm and relaxed. Like I see a bird fly by, and I'm just like, nice, man.
You got nice wings, bro.
It's nice when nice flight, bro. You're fly as hell, bro. Keep doing your thing.
You got style.
You know what I'm saying? And like the grass.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound crazy, but it feels different. The earth feels like
you're right. You feel like
we're more present.
You feel grounded. You feel like
Yep. Because when you're especially creative and an entrepreneur, a lot of the times we like to think ahead.
Yeah.
And that gives you anxiety because you're always like, all right, what do I have to do next? What I got to do tomorrow? I got to do this, that.
And then you realize that you have so much things to do and you're just like, I can't do any of this shit.
Not only that, but that's all in your mind, right?
Yeah.
And for people who think back at their past, because some people do,
oh man, yeah,
you get depressed.
Scary. That's scary, bro.
Right? So now you get anxiety, you're getting depressed, but in reality, you got to be in the now, in the present.
Like, what can you do now? Like,
and that's where meditation helps, to help you get into that state of presence of now. This way, when you drink that coffee, you think about it and you're like, wow, this coffee is great. I'm drinking this coffee. You feel it go through your body. It's like, wow, I'm so thankful I could get to have a nice coffee in a dope-ass studio.
And that's why I find it difficult sometimes when it comes to doing photo and video, because I've never been as unactive as I was in past like things. Because when I was soccer, it was like 100% soccer. Mm-hmm. Skating, 100% skating. And although this one is pushing my mind limits to the most,
right,
and my discipline and everything, it's also not. I have to find something else that's physical. And I've always wanted to get into fighting and stuff because like that's the only one I've ever actually liked. Like I don't really like working out. I like doing stuff, and the fighting is like I'm gonna just do it. Like I'm just gonna sign up and stuff because that's the only one that I would actually focus. And if I didn't skate, I would have gotten into a fighting.
Is there any specific type of fighting you'd like to get into?
I did Taekwondo for a bit, but I want full body, so I want to do Muay Thai for a bit, and not really more grappling, but just kicking, a lot of striking,
yeah,
just to kind of it's like a stress reliever. It's just like I could either go all out, I could go calmly, just like techniques and stuff. Grappling's cool and stuff, but like I want to be able to do it myself. Like I don't want to rely on like just trying to grapple somebody and shit.
I mean, you'd be surprised how many of that you could do by yourself.
Yeah, you're right. But I'm more of just like I want to just like strike something just to kind of like get that energy out just funnel it,
And plus, it's a way of self-defense and
gives
you a different type of confidence too, knowing that you could go in the street and like
God forbid, up and stuff. Yeah.
God forbid somebody steps and you got to do some work. He's gonna get it.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But fighting is definitely a great way of fitness, just because, especially BJJ, because your mental game is.
Yeah, it's on point. And I like things like that. I like when things are very mental oriented, because I've always felt that that's the best way to kind of do it,
Word.
When I started Creator's Block,
mm-hmm.
the reason that came to be is because I had an actual Creator's Block. So it's like, I didn't know what to do. I was just like, I was in a state of just, how do I get out of this? I don't feel creative. And throughout my life, I never felt creative. So that's a very real thing. I didn't realize that happens often to creatives. Like they get in a creative block,
mm-hmm.
or that they just have a routine to kind of get out of it. So for you, when was the last time you got it? And how did you overcome it? And what is your normal routine to get out of it?
So great question once again. And when I was younger, creator's block all the time. Now I'm in this mindset, I feel like I don't even have time to get into creator's block. And one thing that really changed my mindset and to help me get out of it, if I even dare to go into that realm, is one of my friends told me one time, it's like, you can't wait for inspiration, or you can't wait to get inspired to do something, which I always did. I was just like, I need an inspiration. You just got to go and do it. Just roll with it. And once you start working, your inspiration is going to come.
Then it just flows.
So if I get creator's block and I freeze and I don't know what to do next, I literally just go on Photoshop, and let's say I'm designing a logo or something. I just start putting shapes together. Just start making colors.
So you just like push through.
Just push through. And next thing I know, one thing leads to the next. And then by the time I go to sleep, I'm just like, I'm pretty happy with that. And I got over it. So that's the push through is for me.
Once I figure that out too, because it's been a while, like the same thing. I feel like I don't have time to do that. I'm just like, I just got to keep doing it.
You just got to do it.
So, and I'll do like, I'm not going to lie, I do like to procrastinate, but I'm very aware that like what I'm asking and what I'm doing, it's not going to match up. So I'm just like, I'm very aware that this time is being used for a certain thing, but I'm happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not complaining about it. People like when they complain about that they can't get shit done because they're doing stupid shit. But I'm not complaining that like I'm watching this TV series because when it came out, I was just like, I need to watch this shit. Like I'm going to just binge watch it. I'm be happy, get back on like whatever I was doing. Shit. So, I do the same thing. I thought about the same thing, that you can't really wait for it, because when you wait for it, that's mostly for like amateurs, for hobbyists, for people who
have time,
who have time.
Yeah,
people who aren't taking it as serious as you want to do it. You have to. You got to
produce. Yeah, you got to produce on the daily. On the daily.
And it's like, it's work, yo.
For the daily grind.
And I'm kind of happy that I got into the mindset that I'm not very attached to a certain creative field. So when you think of yourself as a creative, you think of yourself as a whole, like not like your medians are photo or a camera and working out. If it wasn't that, you'd be doing something else as a creative. And once I figured that out, everything became easier, because now I'm just like, I don't have to carry my camera around. Right. That doesn't define me. If I lose my camera, I'm going to find something else. Or I have my phone. Like, I just want to create a story. You
might have to change your Instagram name. Elvis likes to create.
I know. I don't know how to do that, yo. How do I transition out of that shit?
Elvis likes to create.
I was just like, I don't know how to create. I don't know how to get out of that. But like, either way, it might be fine. Maybe for now and stuff. But I thought about that. I'm just like, because I'm not a photographer. I'm not like, there's people who are way better than me. Like, I like, this is what it is. I like to take photos.
Yeah, no, but you do your thing, bro. They're amazing quality. I love your stuff.
Thank you, man.
And I always wanted to collab, low key.
We never collabed.
And we haven't. So one day if you give me the opportunity.
And you know, when you say that, like, that's, you thought about that.
I have. I put the sign. I'm looking for it. Here's my sign.
You thought about those exact words.
I did.
That's how you get your collabs, don't you?
I mean, I was in sales for quite a few.
You word it, yeah.
I was in sales for quite a few.
That's funny, because I noticed it, yo. Like, I noticed when the way you would talk, I'm just like, you say this in a certain way that, like, I can tell you've practiced.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that I did, and I spoke in front of the mirror, all that crazy stuff. I've done it. I super anxiety. I couldn't present in front of people. I got over that. But you'd be surprised how just the way you word something changes the game.
Oh man!
And I'll give you a tip for podcasts, for if you want to know more.
Everything, man.
If you speak to somebody, right?
Yeah.
Hit him with this, and I always tell this to everybody. If you want to get something out of him, you could use this word and be like, "Tell me more."
And it's funny. It's so simple.
Tell me more, and just stop.
And they're like, "Oh, all right."
Always. Even if it's something like, I don't understand, it's like, yeah, so we got this phone for you guys, and this phone does, it's $599. I know what the price is, but I'm just like, tell me more.
Or and then he has to stop. Like something.
He has to stop and keep talking, and then you look for certain clues of where you want to go, of what you want to find out, and you question that. So it's kind of like a game.
Yeah.
And it's dope. It is. It's dope when you get to kind of persuade somebody or get the info that you want.
People really feel like, knowledge is power, but it's impossible to know everything in the world, and I think people know that, or people aren't aware of that like people want to just learn as much as they can. And like, yeah, they should. Like, you should always be growing. Yeah. But if it doesn't have a purpose to what your goal is, you're just you're technically wasting time,
yeah, Absolutely.
Like, even though you're learning something, yeah, but like, if I'm trying to go into like this film kind of like interview company industry, there's no reason why I should be looking at
flowers, how to grow plants.
Yeah, like, I mean, unless I really liked it.
Unless you like it, yeah, but
there's no reason I should be able to looking at conspiracy theories and shit. And like, don't get me wrong, I believe it to a certain extent. There's a limit though. Like, it's just like, do you really want to that control your life? If you're really that paranoid about the government watching you, you do know they're watching you say this shit.
Word, they probably listen to this podcast.
So it's just like, I hope so, bring it out. But it's just like, unless you're going to start a revolution, yeah, there's no point in worrying about it. That goes back to like the whole, like, when you take enhancers, like, to open up a certain eye and stuff, do you really want to know that information to a certain extent? Yeah. There's a limit. It's like, do you really want to know how you die? Do you really want to know this?
You explore what you want to know.
Yeah, so that's all it is. It's just like, come on, man. People overthink shit like that, and they just get anywhere. They don't get anywhere and stuff. So lastly, I want to come up with, so you Creator's Block, you just push through it.
Yep. Just, you got the daily grind.
You ever like taking a break and stuff? Like, I mean,
what kind of break?
Like, if you're pushing too hard.
Oh, well, I gotta say, like, leading up to the new year, I would say September, October, November, was when I really like pushed myself to a limit where it was getting unhealthy. So I was just grinding nonstop, putting in hours, working full time as much as I can. And I was getting like sometimes 4-5 hours of sleep, but I was getting everything done, still hitting the gym. And I just felt myself deteriorating. And
that's crazy, because even though you get so much done, you feel worse.
Yeah. I just felt
that's interesting,
drained,
right?
dehydrated.
You feel worse by getting more things done.
Yep.
And you feel like you're not getting anything done.
And at that point, once you hit that stage, you kind of lose the sight of presence, and you could see in your work, it's not as exciting, it's not as creative, it's not as strong.
Yeah.
I was just getting it to write it off as a task. So I took some time off at that time, I would say about 2 days.
Wow.
Just to mentally recover.
That's important though. You should take care of yourself.
Just got that sleep back schedule and just back in it, No stopping.
Yeah.
I'll stop when I die. That's the way I see it. Sometimes when my mom asks me, she's like, "Why don't you sleep?" I was like, "I sleep when I die." I got shit to do. I got shit to do. Word.
All right. So lastly, what advice would you give to people going in your creative field, whether it's photography, video, or trying to improve themselves physically and mentally?
What advice would I give?
Someone new. So say I'm trying to improve myself as a whole.
Yeah. Honestly, the one, I've been asked, I think 3 times this week. I had 2 individuals that I've never spoken to before reach out on Instagram asking for advice. And then I had this one kid who works at a restaurant, and he hit me up out of the blue. We met up. He told me he was depressed. He was looking for advice. And I did the best I could to kind of get him out of the state. We
There's
both
so
left.
much you can do for that, though, because that depends on the person.
Yeah, of course. But, I feel like it's getting through to him.
That's good.
We felt the energy, and it was a great moment, me and this guy. So I'm very happy for that opportunity. But if one thing I could always say is invest in yourself first. Growing up, you're influenced by everybody else around you, and you're like, damn, I want to get the nicest car. I want to impress this chick. I want this group of friends to make me seem like I fit in. You're always looking for that acknowledgement from everybody else, but you don't look it for within.
Yeah.
And one of my boys asked me, he's like, how do you have all these things come to you? Like, how do you get women, or how do you get this? It's like, I never went searching for it.
Yeah.
What I was searching is for the development of myself, my mind, body, and soul. So when I started reading, when I started meditating, when I started working on myself, all that started coming to me.
It's interesting how that works.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I worried, focused about myself. So if I could give somebody advice to like a younger self, bro, just start working on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Build that confidence up from a younger age, because you could do it. You could do anything you set your mind to. It really is that. And I've been proving that for the last 3 to 4 years. Everything I set my mind to has been coming true. Everything. So I really feel like working on yourself, taking that hour a day to read, meditate, whatever, physical fitness, do it. Because it's going to pay off.
So I want to go back to that, because you've mentioned that you've been in a depressive state before.
Yeah.
How did that happen? And when did it start?
So that was in college. I think it was sophomore year.
And that was the first time that happened?
That was like real depression. Like when I really felt depressed. I've had bad days, I had bad weeks, but this was like a real sense of depression where like you go outside, the sun is shining, beautiful summer day. All my friends are hitting me up, and I just feel like it's dark, it's raining. I didn't want to do anything, bro. It was rough. And the reason why that happened, it was just all different factors came in and hit me at one point. At the time, I was kind of into cars. So I was working for like 4 years, saving up my pennies to buy myself a Subaru WRX.
Ooh.
Sick. I got an 02 stick. Nice. I got a whole trunk swap, put a brand new muffler. And the reason why I wanted that car is because of the rumble. The Boxer engine gives off that rumble. I was just like, yes, I got it. Buy myself an HKA high power. I still remember. $800. The same day I put it on, bro, the noise it brought, beautiful. I was like, holy shit. I'm a kid. I work my ass off. I got this whip. It's amazing. Bet, let me go celebrate with my boy. So we went to Applebee's on Route 3. Sitting at Applebee's, eating a dessert. And I'm looking out the window, and the lights are flashing to my car. And I'm like, I look at my key. I was like, I'm not sitting on it. And it starts pulling out. And I'm like, holy shit.
Nah.
My car's getting stolen. Run. So my boy runs out that way. I run out the fucking exit door. I kick that shit open. I think the door even came off. I'm running at this guy, and he sees me right when I'm about to like pull the door to get him out. He just steps on it and just dips. My boy called the cops. They came. Whatever. it was like 2 days before they found the car, the guy crashed it.
Yo.
Right? And it was the same day I got that exhaust. And I had the car for a month. Mind you, I worked for like 4 years. And I didn't have full coverage. I got the car back and it was totaled. Everything was destroyed.
Yo,
when I saw that at that age, especially because like, you know, that was my pride and joy.
You worked hard for that.
Yeah, it crushed me. And at that time I was talking to this girl and like we didn't have that connection, and that was kind of mentally messing me up. So everything just kind of piled together, and you know, I got to be open to. At that age, I was messing with a little bit of performance enhancement drugs. Yeah. So like steroids, I got into that, and I've tried that out, and that was probably one of the biggest mistakes I've done in my life.
You felt the effects on it or something?
Yeah, I felt the effects on it. It didn't give me the results I was looking for. It was just an overall sketchy experience, and just the people that I was around, they were such a bad influence on me. Yeah. And knowing that these guys were like 30, 40 years old, men, to kind of give me that influence, to give me some shit like that, which I didn't need at the time. Yeah. Everything just kind of came together, and I got depressed, man. It was literally after the night my car got stolen. I went to a deep state of depression.
How did you get out of that?
So funny thing is, my best friend at the time, his girlfriend broke up with him, or something happened there, and he got depressed too. So depressed boys. We were depressed together. Sad boys. So we were there together in my basement, which is dark as shit. Another big mistake, no light. And I remember going to the pizzeria every day and buying a whole pie. Nice. Crushing that by myself. Every day, bro, straight for a week, pizza.
Damn, meds it.
So depressed. But, you know, it just kept going. And, like, one thing that always brought back both of us back into, like, a state of happiness and peace was working out. So I think it was, like, 2 weeks of just pure, like, depression, getting beat up. And then he forced me to do it, or I forced him, one of them. He was actually the one who influenced me to work out, pick that weight up. And then just one thing led to the next. And one thing led to the next. And that was the only thing I had where it was like meditation. Mm-hmm. And that working out just got me out of that shit. And once I got out, I was just like, you know, there's no point for that. Yeah. The car, I'll replace it. It sucks. It hurt. But get over it. It's just a thought. It happened. What can I do? Nothing.
4 years.
Change your mindset.
4 years.
That girl, I found like 6 better ones since then. You know? Yeah. There's other women out there. Don't worry about it. Whatever. You know? The steroids, it is what it is. I've done it. I'm never going to do it again. It was stupid. But I learned from that, you know? And I want to pass that over to like the younger kids who are getting in that. Like, yo, you don't need that to get in shape. Just got to work a little bit harder. Stop being lazy. You know, eat your shit in the kitchen. Then you'll be grinding. You begin the results. Don't reach for that.
Lasting.
That's one thing too. When I got off, I lost the results like that. Yeah. Now, if I stop working out, like it's gradual.
It'll take like 3 years for it to like.
I wish it was like that, bro. 2 burgers and my abs are gone. But
damn, when was the last time you ate a burger? Oh, you gotta think about it.
I can't remember, dude. Man. But yeah, like it's not that like I.
Nah, I know it's not that big of a deal. Burgers are just
not even that, but people think just because I eat healthy that like
you don't like eat.
I suffer.
Yeah.
I eat good. You know what I mean? I eat good, bro. Every day I'm happy to be eating. That's my favorite. And I eat good. I cook well. I eat good.
No, I've seen when you post like yourself cooking, I'm just like, yo, this nigga's like
yeah, I'm out here.
that wife is gonna be on point with like
word. The wifey ain't gonna have to cook. I got this. But yeah, man.
That's good, man. That's good that you got out of that. And look where you are now, man. Like thinking back, it's just
and don't get me wrong.
There's still so much more to do, yo.
And there's been times since then where I've started getting to a state of depression. But since I experienced that and I understood how to get out of it, you kind of just get out of it that much quicker. I still feel the pain, like the emotion, like you said. You know, it's still the same feeling for me as it would be for anybody else. But you just get out of it a little bit quicker.
That's good, man.
That's it. That's all you got to do.
So. I guess we'll end it at that, man. Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you, Voy.
Yo, thank you for having me, bro. It's a pleasure.
Man.
It's a great experience. So great podcast.
Give out your Instagram name and stuff.
Yeah, no problem. So if you guys ever want to follow me, check me out, send me a message, talk. If you're going through some shit, hit me up anytime for anything. If I could help, I'm here. Instagram is Voy_Rivals. And then definitely check out our brand. It's called We The Rivals. Yeah. Big red V. check that out.
Custom designs to custom materials. So
custom stuff. And one last thing too, we're gonna be starting an event series with my boy called the Modern Renaissance Man, for any men that want to just elevate themselves through the mind, body, and soul to greatness, connect with like-minded individuals, and talk about some real deep shit. Be on the lookout for that. Modern Renaissance Man. Peace.
Yeah, we gotta talk about that afterwards then. All right, so thank you guys for listening to Creators Block Podcast. I am Elvis, aka Elvislikesphotos. I don't know if that's gonna change, man. I might just keep it, but thank you guys for listening.
Peace.
So thank